the platform. Cool. I don't know what that means. A misogynist is somebody who would like hate women. What? Happy New Year, Jesse. What? Happy New Year, Jesse. Tap, tap, tap the screen, y'all. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I stayed home as well. I did the screen, y'all. Did stay up till midnight though. I thought about going to get dinner, but instead I ordered dinner. I really did. I stay up till midnight though to get dinner, but instead I ordered dinner. I really did. I had some friends that were out somewhere too, and I thought about going, but since I don't drink, I was just I don't know, and I was just exhausted. I thought about I don't know, and I was just exhausted. Hi, how old are you?
Ash, I'm 30.
Okay, is there a topic on the background you want? I don't know, and I was just exhausted.
Ash, I'm 30.
Wanted to talk about.
Yeah, not particularly any of topics here, but just wanted
Well,
to
I'm just
note
looking
that
for opposition on the topics I have listed, so I appreciate you. I'm gonna drop you down though, okay? Feminism is losing for a reason. Feminism actually isn't losing. What you're seeing right now is the last ditch efforts from men who are is the last ditch completely lost. They have no identity. Happy New Year, Ash. You too. Um, and so Happy New Year, Ash. You too. And so, right before it's like you say it's like the quiet before the storm, right? We're in the storm. You say it's like the quiet right now. Why do you think Gen Z men are anti-fem right now? Why do you think Gen Z men are anti-feminists? I think that we still have an issue with mainstream media and red pill culture. I think that we mainstream media and it is an issue. But the thing is those men and the red pill ideology used to have a counterpart that worked with them, which was the women. That is those men used to have a counterpart that worked with them, which was the women that were indoctrinated. And so women aren't indoctrinated anymore. And so those men who are indoctrinated aren't indoctrinated anymore, who are indoctrinated and find they aren't being handed what they told they were going to be handed. They aren't getting who are indoctrinated being handed what they told they the wife. They're not getting the things that they were told would just be handed to them if they checked this list of things. And so they're anti-feminist because they think feminism has ruined that. But what it is that these things that they, as people are liberated, you cannot have that now. As people are liberated, right? These things that men have, if they check the list of being a protector, provider, right? The way they look a certain way, that they meet these certain standards, but they were never the standards of what women provider, right? The way that they meet these certain standards really wanted, they were the standards of the things that people needed because we were limited ourselves, right? So when we didn't have access to working or checking accounts of the things that people needed when we didn't have access to working or checking accounts, then the fact that somebody was making good money and had a home and all these things was actually something that women quality was home and all these things was actually something that quote unquote needed. But now through that liberation, all those things that men have tied to their identity, which was a way to have power and control over us, women don't need anymore. And so instead of men just like raising the standards and figuring out who they are and loving themselves, just like raising the standards and figure first, they're crashing out. And so they hate feminists for that reason. That's why. Hi, Hall. I should clip that. I'm going to clip that. That'll be a good clip. Too bad I'm not on camera. That's why. Hi. I should clip that. I'm gonna clip that today. Damn it. Paul, did you know you joined?
Yeah.
Okay.
Happy New Year.
Damn, I'm not on camera, and that was a good little rant right there. Maybe I'll.
Yeah.
I'm not on camera, and that was a good little rant.
I didn't want to step on your rant.
No, I was done.
Okay.
I mean, I could say more, but
On your rant.
No, I was done. I mean, I could say more, but My dad gave me Starbucks coffee. So it's so funny because my dad is he's not Starbucks coffee. He's not like a penny pincher or like cheap or fruit. He's not even frugal. Pincher or he's not even frugal, but he's sensible. But like we grew up doing some name brand and some not or whatever, but he's sensible. We grew up doing some name brand and some not or whatever, but I never in a million years would have ever thought he was a Starbucks fan, ever. But he also has found a way to bulk order like big bags of ground Starbucks that are cheaper. Though has found a way than Folgers because he looks at like per like the per ounce or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I was over there last week and I was like, I gotta stop at the store on the way home so I gotta get coffee. And he opened up their top cabinet and he had like 12 huge like bags of Starbucks coffee, and he gave me some. And I won't pay I don't go to Starbucks. And I don't necessarily think it's significantly better than other coffee, but this coffee is fucking good.
What type is it?
Let me go. Another coffee, but this coffee is fucking good.
Is it?
Let me go look. Hold on. It is. Oh, you know what? I threw the bag away because I put it in my.
That's okay. No problem.
I think I said it in our group chat. It's.
Is it?
Let me go look.
No problem.
I think I said it in our group chat. It's not the one you said. I think it. I can't remember, but.
Well, I think the normal stuff that they use is the Pike Place roast.
I'll ask my dad and I'll put.
Well, I think the normal stuff.
I'll ask my dad and I'll put it in our chat. Okay. Happy New Year, Nadine. I let you up.
Let me up.
I did. Here, Nadine. Where are you? I let you up. Re-request. Where are you? I let re-request. Dogs are wrestling. Go on. They had a nice little vacation, and I have a backyard and we did fetch and everything, but go on. They had a nice little vacation. They definitely will be happy to go back and hey, please stop it. Go outside and do that. Bro, I sent you. They definitely will be happy to. Please stop it. Go outside and do that. An invite. What do you mean let me up and you're not even whatever. I could not whatever. I could not sleep last night. I don't know why. I just could not sleep. And then I took a trazodone and I still couldn't sleep. And then I took a trazodone and I still couldn't sleep. And then I woke up at like 8. I was like, screw this.
I slept okay.
I was like, screw this.
I slept okay. I think I had weird dreams. Like, I don't remember what they were, but
I'll remember mine later. I remembered them this morning. I definitely went to my mall.
I don't remember what they were, but
I definitely went to my Mall World last night.
Was it New Year's in Mall World?
It's a good question. I don't know. I definitely went to my mall.
Was it New Year's in Mall World?
I remember what I dreamt about last night. It'll either never come to me or it will.
My phone speaker, like the ear speaker, was acting up, so I switched my phone over to my wife's old phone. My my wife's old phone,
Mm-hmm.
so I have to like
حبيبتي
sign into
السلام
everything.
عليكم.
Hi,
Fatima.
Hi
Fatima.
حبيبتي. Hi
Happy New
Fatima.
Year.
حبيبتي.
Fatima's a refugee in. Oh, hey guys, stop it. Fatima.
عليكم.
Hi, Fatima. Refugee in. Oh, hey guys, stop it. Fatima's a refugee in Syria, so if we can send her any coins, she hangs out up here, and that is very helpful. Here, and that is these dogs. They go home today. They have been fun having. Bennett's like, see, these dogs. They have been fun having. We could get another dog. No, I'm like, girl. I'm like, you. This is like. No men's society collapses. They keep all the infrastructures going. All right, come up and let's talk about it.
Please.
Men's society collapses.
Please.
It's so funny because here's the thing. Let's just pretend like there were if there was no men, okay? Let's just go with this theory, right? If there was no men, okay? Would there be an adjustment period? Yes, there would be an adjustment period, right? Sure. The same way that there would be an adjustment period if there was no women, right? Because who would take care, right? Who would do all those feminized jobs that there would be an adjustment period if there was no women, right? Because those feminized jobs that you say, you know, women need to do because men can only do these, right? So there would be an adjustment period, first of all, on both ends. The question then would be like, who would figure it out? What would that adjustment period look like? Who would figure it out? I think women would figure it out. I think men would start unaliving their children. Because I think women would figure it out. I think men would start. Because statistically, that's what we see. So in history, we have evidence of women. Statistically, that's what we have evidence of women stepping up and doing the jobs that men were doing when men had to go to war and things. Have evidence of women and had to go to war and things like that. We also have statistics. Happy New Year, Admir. We also have statistics that show that domestic violence, we also have statistics that show and child harm raises when men are unemployed, and that men statistically unalive and harm their children more than women. So like, it's just unalive and harm their children more than women. So like, it's just, and I'm not saying that like as a gotcha, right? And I think sure, like maybe men would figure it out, but saying that like as a gotcha, but these are all feelings. People just say feelings. But if we look at trends, that's a true statement. But these are all feelings. People just say feelings. But if we look at, so the real thing is that we don't need men and women, but we do need good people, and we need people who have lots of different skill sets. So do we need women? But we do need, do we need people who have maybe a lot of strength to do some job, who have maybe strength to do some jobs? Yeah. But some of those could be women, right? And do we need some people who like children? Yes, not everybody likes children, right? Like I'm a woman and I don't want to be a teacher. I don't really want to take care of other people's children. It's not something, yes, not everybody likes children, right? Like I'm a woman and I don't want to be a teacher. It's not something I want to do. I'm not good at it. Do I love my own child? Do I like spending time with my child? Did I want to stay home? You know, did I stay home with my child for a year? Yeah, like, right? But this idea that we have to fit these gender roles. Did I want to stay home? You know, did I stay home with my child for a year? Yeah. Like, the idea that we have to fit these gender roles and that we're good at it is dangerous.
If there were no men,
we're good at it is dangerous.
if there were no men, and all of the men who work on infrastructure disappeared, the economy would reward women for stepping into those roles. So women would step into the training for those roles more often, so they could make more money.
Well, then there wouldn't be any men putting up the boundaries and the barriers that women face. Be any men putting up the barriers that women face when they try to get into these industries. Where'd the guy with the like flexing arm go? I thought he was going to be fun. Did you guys see him? I let
said
him
yes, and then he disappeared. So
Yeah.
I guess no.
So I guess no. Yeah. So I let
Said
him
yes, and then he disappeared.
No. Yeah, so nobody's saying like that we want to get rid of one gender or the other, right? Or like that's just silly. But what? Yeah, so that we want to get or like that's just silly. But what's more silly is saying is putting people in boxes like that. What's more silly is saying is I was hanging live turkeys in high school, 60 and 70 pound. What? Oh, got it. Okay.
You don't think women can lift 60 and 70 pounds?
Yeah. Okay.
You don't think women can lift 60?
Yeah. I'm almost 5'2", and I weigh about 115 pounds. And I can lift about 50 pounds and move 50 pounds. And that's 50 pounds and move. And that's heavy for me. And that's me not really like working out and like being super strong or whatever, right? Like, and the reason I know that is because I have 50-pound bags of ice.
What's
for
funny
my-
is like the people who
for my
say that,
driveway.
they're like, it's these.
Like, and the reason I know that is because
What's
for
funny
my-
is like they're like, it's these 60-year-old like old fart men who had to retire early and go on disability because they hurt themselves. They're like, it's these 60-year-old like old fart men because they hurt themselves because they perform
Right.
manual labor incorrectly.
Well, and that's the thing. And so I also
Because they hurt themselves.
well, and that's the thing. And so I also if you look up the jobs, that's the funny thing too is that the majority jobs, that's the funny thing too is that the majority, I looked up like the weight limits and like basic like requirements because like most of I worked in like hospitality and bartending and stuff, and I mean I had to move kegs and stuff, and you figure out how to do it, and full kegs at that, and you figure out how to do it. But I looked it up, and I want to say that it was like 75%. But I looked it up, and I want to say that 75% of blue collar jobs, the weight requirement is 50 pounds or under, like 50 pounds is the max. And then it goes up, and it's like, or under, like 50 pounds is the max. And then it goes up, and it's like, it's a very small percentage that like ask or want you to be able to lift 100 pounds. But what's fun ask or want you to be able to lift funny to me is like nobody is lifting. Funny to me is like nobody is things and carrying them long distance. If anything, they're lifting them and then putting them on something that will then dry. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean, yes, there's like exceptions to everything. But again, I'm just going to say, do we need people who maybe need to lift 50 pounds and walk with it? Sure. But that isn't and only limited to men. Right? The same
Good
way
morning,
that there's
Leah.
some men. I'm sorry. Oh, I
I
didn't.
said good morning,
I
Neo.
didn't
You're
see.
completely delusional. There's a lot of jobs women just physically can't do. There's lots of jobs that's far more than 50 pounds. They're doing jobs
Well,
they're moving. There's a lot of jobs women just physically can't 50 pounds. They're doing jobs
well,
they're moving 400
Wait,
pound docks,
calm down.
200 pound things. They're
Calm
pushing
down. Calm
stuff. They're
down.
doing
Calm
all
down.
kinds of
Calm
stuff
down.
that
Calm
women
down.
can't do.
Hey, calm
Would you let
down.
me
Hey,
finish and talk? I
no,
wasn't
no, no,
talking the whole
no.
time you were talking. Now, why can't I finish?
we can
Well,
address each
because we
point.
haven't even introduced you, first of all, and you don't come up and just ramble. So how old are you, Neo?
Talking. Now, why can't I finish?
Haven't even introduced you, first of all, and you don't come up and oh,
I'm 47. I typed it in the chat.
okay, well, I wasn't looking at the chat and TikTok needs to know. So if you're gonna come up here,
I typed it in the chat.
okay, well, I wasn't looking at the chat and come up here.
I can read text.
Okay, so are you gonna have a conversation or are you gonna come up here and crash out right away?
I'm not crashing out. I'm
Okay,
just
what do
giving
you, Neo, what do you
information.
do?
You're
Okay,
delusional.
Neo, what do you do for a living?
Hard
Oh,
labor.
sorry.
I'm not crashing out. I'm
Okay,
just
what do
giving
you, Neo, what do you
information.
do?
You're
Okay,
hard
Oh,
labor
sorry.
and dangerous job. That's what
what do
I've
you,
done since high
what do you
school.
do, what do you do for a living?
I cannot give you specifics because women are shady as fuck. They'll do
So
their
I'm
best to
gonna,
get you
wait,
fired.
so I'm gonna be able to find who Neo is based on the industry that you're in.
Some women can't because women are shady as fuck.
Neo is based on the industry that you're in.
Some women can, and possibly yes. This is my 4th account. I've had 3 accounts mass reported. I've had women attack my wife, call my wife, and harass her from this
Now,
very app.
sounds like, I mean, from what I can tell, it kind of sounds like maybe you're, doing things that
Well, why
are
do we
deserving.
just admit
Okay,
that
listen,
women
here's
might
what
not be
we're gonna
completely
do.
good people? That
What,
women also harass people, chase people,
okay, clearly you're upset. This isn't therapy. Here's
not
what
be
we're gonna
completely
do.
good people. That
What,
women also harass people.
though, okay? So we're not talking about like your trauma and what's happened to you. Okay, I want you to come off mute because I need you to answer a couple questions, okay?
I can't answer
Okay.
questions if you mute me.
Okay.
Fuck, you guys are retarded.
What is the difference between cement and concrete?
I have done some concrete work. I can't
What is the difference between
answer that. I worked for a pool company for 3 years. You run a fucking pump or run without a pump truck, wheelbarrow
Oh, I
for
knew
about
it.
3
Guys,
straight
he's
hours
he's
to
in the
someone's
pool.
backyard.
Found you.
You've
You're in the pool industry. I found you.
you've done concrete work, but you don't know the difference between
Yeah.
concrete and
So what's the
cement.
difference between concrete and cement? You?
You've done concrete work, but you don't know the difference between
Yeah.
concrete.
Because
Cement.
I don't make the shit. You just pour the
Okay.
bags in a mixer. You add water. There's.
I want. Okay.
I
Now
don't
I
care how
okay.
it's
Now I want
specifically
you.
engineered.
Now I
How
want
is
you
a
to.
tire engineered? What is the exact comp?
Okay, calm down. Now I want you to tell me. Okay, come off mute.
Why do you keep muting me in the exact comp?
Okay, calm down. Now I want you to tell me. Okay, come off mute.
Why do you keep muting me and not let me finish?
Because
Are you fucking dumb?
you're rambling. You're just like rambling.
I'm
So
not
now
rambling.
I want you
You're
to.
not letting me-
Okay.
This is why I don't come up in these chats
Are you
because you people
yeah.
don't let people talk.
Rambling. You're just like rambling.
I'm
So
not.
now,
People
yeah.
don't let people talk.
Okay. Can you name 3 types of hammers?
Ballpoint, claw hammer. You got flat hammers. There's a ridiculous amount of hammers.
Did you say
Rubber
ballpoint?
hammers.
Did you say
Ballpoint is a
ballpoint?
pen.
That's a pen. Did you mean ball?
There's literally a ball.
It's
Don't
ball.
get specific and dumb.
It's well, I'm a woman. I shouldn't know that it's ball peen.
Yeah.
You know what a rounded hammer looks like. Are you dumb? Stop muting me.
I do.
Go
Reject.
for
I do.
2, bud.
I'm just wondering.
You know what a rounded hammer looks like. Are you dumb? Stop.
Bud.
I'm just wondering. I heard. I heard.
Jobs. Be honest. You're lazy.
Wait, but I'm lazy. Why am I lazy?
Most women can't.
Bud.
I'm just wondering.
Be honest. You're lazy.
Lazy.
Most women can't do men's jobs physically,
But you
and that's
couldn't
just
even
the
hold on. But
reality
you
of
couldn't
life.
even name. You couldn't even name a hammer.
I named a whole bunch of hammers, literally more than
You said
3.
ballpoint. That's embarrassing.
Ball ping, ballpoint doesn't make much
you
difference.
imagine-
It's the same thing. A whole bunch of hammers, literally more than
You said
3.
ballpoint. That's embarrassing.
Doesn't make much
Could you
difference.
imagine?
It's the same thing.
Could you imagine being a dude? Could you imagine being a dude on a construction site and being like, "Yo,
Truly are that fucking
can you
dumb.
pass me the ballpoint hammer?"
Construction sites. How many you been on?
I've been on so
been in
many
chicken-
construction site and being like, "Yo,
Truly are that
hammer."
construction sites. How many you been on?
I've been on
I've
so
been in chicken
many.
plants, meat plants. I've been in all kinds of different industries and doing hard labor jobs. How many have you done?
A
Exactly.
million.
Plants, meat plants. I've been in all kinds of different industries. You done?
A
Exactly.
million. A
Sit down.
million. A million.
Not shit. Not shit.
Why are
Do
you
you think
so why
I
are
can
you
lift
so
50
angry?
pounds.
Why are you so angry? A
Down.
million. A million.
Pounds.
Why are you so angry?
Because you keep muting me. That's
Well,
really
you're
annoying.
you're
I
just
can't
random.
finish.
You're just
I have to
random.
now stare at this tiny
Okay.
icon because you lack intelligence.
Well, I
All
don't know
right.
about maybe like your ballpoint brain can't understand how intelligent she is.
I can under.
Well, I
All
don't know
right.
about maybe like your understand how intelligent she is.
I can understand. I named 4 different hammers. Even if the name was just slightly incorrect, who fucking cares?
Well, slightly incorrect
Why
is
be
still
a bitch
incorrect,
about
right?
that? It
Like if
wasn't
you're
really
slightly incorrect
incorrect.
at a
You're just a
job site,
bitch.
hey, if you're at a
You're just
construction
a
site and you're
small
hey,
feminist
hey, can you
man.
shut
Get
up while I'm
honest.
talking? How are we gonna have
Keep. It
like if
wasn't
you're
really
slightly incorrect
incorrect.
at a
You're just a
job site,
bitch.
hey, if you're at a
You're
construction while I'm
just.
talking, how are we gonna have a
Keep on,
conversation if
woman.
how are you gonna have a conversation with someone if you're talking over them?
That's why we were muting
Well,
you,
how are
by
you
the
going to
way.
have a conversation when you're built like a woman?
You don't know what I look like.
I can tell from the way you sound. You've never done a man's
Turn
job.
your camera on, Neo.
Yeah.
I got pictures on my profile.
Turn
Turn
your
your
My
camera
camera
legs are
on.
wider than my waist. I'm 230 man's
Turn
job.
your camera on, Neo.
Yeah.
I got pictures on my wider than my waist. I'm 230 pounds. My forearms are larger than most guys' biceps.
Turn your camera on.
I
Why is
can
your
put a
voice so
quarter
high?
through my wedding ring.
Nia, why is your voice so high?
Why are you so feminine looking?
You don't know what he looks like.
I do know that. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
You're wrong.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Explain it. Describe me. What do I look like?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Explain it. Describe me.
You have a more feminine. You don't have muscle on you. You're not a built guy. You've never done a man's job. You have a more feminine. You don't have muscle.
Okay, so I don't have muscle on me.
Not
What
really.
else? Tell
Not
me
any
more.
more than an average woman.
Tell me more.
I'm good. I'm done. Thanks. Have a nice day.
All right, bye.
Tell me more.
I'm good. I'm done. Thanks.
All right, bye. You did great.
That was so embarrassing.
You did great. That was great. All right, let's see. We've got you did great.
That was
Great. We've got Fred, who's got Trump in his CFP. We've got Fred, who's got Trump.
You can't do a man's job. I swing ballpoint hammers all day.
All right, they did not come up.
Men do 96%
All right, they did not come up.
of the dangerous jobs. I think you're getting it mixed up. Men do 98% of the violent crimes, is what you meant to say.
Do you think that's the
None of the dangerous jobs. I think you're getting it mixed up. Men do 98% of the
do you think that's do you think that's dangerous?
violent crimes. It can be, yeah.
Yeah, that is true. Men do. Do you think that's do you think that's dangerous?
Violent.
That is true. Men do. I would say that violent crimes are dangerous. So I think you're right. Men do 90. You just got the percentage wrong. All right. Nobody's coming. I think maybe they just wanted to request because of. All right. Let's see. Louis.
Hi.
Hi. How old are you? Let's see. Louis.
Hi.
Hi. How old are you?
I'm 44. Thank you.
Okay. Is there a topic on the background you wanted to discuss?
No, I just wanted to say what you're doing is amazing, and I love it, and you're absolutely right.
Appreciate
I
you.
just think it's absolutely insane how some men think that it's appropriate to come up and say the wildest, most heinous crap because
Yeah.
they feel insecure.
Yeah.
And how some men say the wildest, most heinous crap because they feel insecure.
I usually let them go for just a little bit to just let them embarrass themselves. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye. Usually let them go for just a little bit to just let them embarrass themselves. So
Thank you.
all right.
Thank you for having me.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye. All right. Let's see. Oh, we got hoe ass shit in the comment and the guest request. Let's see what hoe ass shit has to say. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How old are you? Comment and the guest request. Let's see what hoe ass shit has to say. Hi.
Hello. Happy New Year for you.
Yeah. Same to you. How? Is there a topic on the background you wanted to discuss?
Happy New Year for you.
Yeah. Same to you. How wanted to discuss?
Not necessarily. I kind of wanted to just discuss feminism as a whole, if you don't mind.
It's not really a topic.
Okay.
The topics are listed there. Do you disagree with any of those topics?
Um. mm, 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 I don't understand the white men are a public health crisis, so I can't say I disagree with it. But could you elaborate on what so I can't say I disagree with it, but could you elaborate on what the intent behind that is actually?
Yeah. So first of all, so do you disagree with feminism? Is that what you wanted to come up and talk about?
No, I think feminism gets a bad name because of the extreme feminism. I think.
I don't know what that is, but okay, never mind. Yeah. So white men are a public health crisis. Yeah, white men hold majority power, and white men are responsible for public health crises that we go through. Crises. Can I say crises? Oh my gosh! Look, it's Paul's leg.
This is Neo 4.0's leg. It is not a turkey leg.
A turkey leg. That's funny. No, please no barking. Please no barking.
I'm misinformed on universal health care. What's the issue with that? What's the
No.
I'm misinformed on universal health care. What's the issue with that? What's the
Do you say you're misinformed or you're
No,
not?
I'm not informed. I guess.
Do you live in the United States, guys?
Yeah, Michigan.
Okay. Are you against universal health care?
Oh no, I'm not against universal health care.
Okay. And when I say universal health care, I want Medicare for all, which is like Bernie's plan. When I say universal health care, I want to change my background, honestly, to change that. Okay. Are you asking me to inform you about what universal health care is?
No, I was for some reason I related that to like males have better healthcare than females. I totally understand what you're saying now. For some reason I was relating it to like a difference between males having different healthcare than for some reason I was males having different healthcare than females or something like that. I was relating it to feminism as a topic, and I did that incorrectly. I'm sorry.
Somebody said that your whole page is hating on marginalized groups. What's that about?
My whole page?
Yeah. Somebody said that your whole page groups. What's that about?
My whole
I think that may have been Neo. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Got it.
That's not me for sure.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say, I mean, it sounds like maybe we agree on.
I'm not sure.
Okay. Got it. It sounds like maybe we agree on most of these things then.
Yeah, for the most part. So thanks for letting me check in. I appreciate you guys.
Okay, yeah, she clarified it was the other guest, not you. Okay, so not how ass shit.
I'm off the hook.
All right, change your name though.
Take care, guys.
Yep, bye.
So thanks for letting me check in. I appreciate you guys. I'm off the hook.
All right. All right, Fred's back in the requests.
How's it going?
Hi, Happy New Year. How old are you?
53.
Okay. Is there a topic on the background you wanted to discuss?
Sure, I'm happy to discuss any of them. You're a feminist. You want me to start there, or
That's not a topic.
That's
not a topic. But the
universal health care?
Sure. You live in the United States?
I do.
Okay. Why are you against the
universal health care?
States?
I do.
Okay. Why are you against? I'll say Medicare for all. That's the
Yeah, I think prior to the ACA, a large percentage of healthcare providers didn't.
Oh, that's the
The ACA, a large percentage of healthcare providers didn't accept Medicaid as part of their practices, primarily because of their slow pay and their inability to process claims. I think that
well.
the
Hold on.
government has
Well, let's stop
systematically.
there. Hold on. Let's stop there because I'm not sure where you're going. But that's actually not true.
It is.
Can you show me that? Can you show me a source that says because there's no like pre-author that? Can you show me a source? There's no like pre-authorization or denial factor. Medicaid and Medicare are actually, that's like the one thing that they do is they pay the bills quickly and promptly.
No, they're required to accept it now under the ACA, but previously they didn't.
No, that's not true. You still have to have a contract.
Before it was nationalized.
Hold on. Places are not required to take Medicaid and Medicare. You know that, right? Hold on. Medicaid and Medicare. You know that, right?
Yeah, if you're in private practice, but they've made it. So you're not going to let me respond? You're just going to interrupt me every time I speak?
Well, I want you to show me a source and not just say it.
A source I speak?
Well, I want you to show me a
source for what?
You've made two claims. One is that Medicaid doesn't pay quickly and promptly, and then you made a claim that who's required to take Medicaid? Who's required to take Medicaid? There are places that don't take Medicaid.
You're going to have to give me some time to pull it up, I guess.
So. Well, yeah. Fax, if you'd like to join, I see you in there. My dog is whining. She's not even my dog. She's my dog now. I've had her for a week.
Can I have her?
She's sweet.
So no.
No, my friend would be so mad.
So no.
No, my friend would be so mad.
One needs a short-term dog sitter and can get to my house. And can get to my
here's just the initial AI overview. Public healthcare providers are required to enroll and participate. Here's just the initial AI and participating providers with Medicaid if they are ordering, prescribing, or referring services.
Just give me a source, not the AI.
And participate.
Participate.
If they are ordering,
not the AI overview.
Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, Medicaid.gov.
The AI overview.
For Medicare and Medicaid, Medicaid.gov, Congress.gov, Highmark, with a Congress.gov, Highmark, Sure.com.
Hold on, I need to read that because I don't think. Hold on, sorry, I'm plugging my computer in.
No, I mean just the nonsense is nonstop, and the fact that you need me to prove this to you tells me that you're not informed on the topic.
I am informed. Your claim was.
You're obviously
hold
not.
on. Your claim was that they're
informed on the topic.
I am. Your claim was that they're required to take Medicaid.
That's correct.
Okay, so that's not the same thing. So hold on, I'm going to pull up what you're showing me.
Yeah, the ACA actually imposed the requirement when it outlawed the Cadillac plans, and which was crammed down the people's throat without them actually knowing what was in it based on a bunch of lies that have since been exposed.
Okay, you're just rambling.
Which was crammed down the people's throat based on a bunch of lies that have...
Saying things now, that's great. So we're still talking about what you said. All right. So where are you wanting me to read your claim?
Just do a simple Google search and you'll get all the answers you need. Are public healthcare providers required to take Medicaid? That was the claim. You'll get all the answers and sources you need. It'll take you less than 3 minutes to understand that I'm correct.
So your claim is that, first of all, it wasn't just that.
Sources you need. It'll take you less than correct.
So your claim is that, first of all, it wasn't just that.
Yeah, I made two
that
claims.
No, it wasn't just that public healthcare providers were, but they're not all required to take Medicaid. Hold on.
They are.
Well, no, it wasn't just that public healthcare required to take Medicaid. Hold on. And first of all, what would be wrong with that?
It's just nonsensical. Yeah, you're basically enforcing government will on private industry. So you're forcing the acceptance of poor performance by virtue of legislation.
So again, where's the poor performance? And no, most public health they're not federally required to accept Medicaid. They can opt out.
I think you need to read more on this.
Well, so tell me
I've
where.
given you several valuable sources.
No, you didn't. You read it. They can opt out.
Read more on this.
Well, it's an AI overview, right? My AI.
And then I gave you a list of resources that will break it down.
So tell me one of them.
Medicare and Medicaid.gov. It's actually CMS.gov. There's Medicaid.gov.
Where?
There is CMS.gov. There's Medicaid.gov.
Where?
There is Congress.gov.
No, tell me what I'm looking up on CMS.gov. Where can I find this?
Medicaid provider enrollment requirement. Medicaid provider enrollment requirements goes through the details of the requirements.
Say it again. Medicaid what?
Provider enrollment requirements. Let me just read the first. If you'll let me
say it again. Medicaid what?
Read the first If you'll let me read the first paragraph, you'll probably learn a lot. The Affordable Care Act's mandates.
I'm going to read it.
The first paragraph, the Affordable Care Act's
All right, let's see. All right, let's see.
Yeah, I'm just going to dip out. You're not smart enough for this conversation, but thanks for having me.
I would dip out too if I was about to get proven wrong.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to look through this source that he says. Okay, so I'm going to look through it. So these are requirements if you want to enroll in Medicaid. Now, if you're the public healthcare providers. Yeah, so it's exactly what I said. So they're not this. Yeah, what I said. So this is what if they want to receive the funding, then they have to accept and enroll in Medicaid, but they're not required to. Receive the funding, accept and enroll in Medicaid, but they're not required to. Some can be, but they aren't all required to. It's just some can be, aren't all required to. It's just not true. I believe aren't all required to. It's just even in emergency rooms, they're required to stabilize, but they don't have even don't have to accept Medicaid for non-emergency care. And then have to accept Medicaid for and then for the most part, I know in Tennessee there were there's also different in Tennessee. Blue Cross managed a Medicaid plan, United Healthcare managed, and I can't remember the other one. There was Amerigroup, which was a Medicaid, Blue Cross Blue Shield, which was Medicaid, and then United Healthcare had their Medicaid. And those were managed. I can't remember the other one. There was Amerigroup, Medicaid, and then United Healthcare had theirs by each managed contract. And we weren't contracted with all of them. We were allowed to choose which ones we were contracted with. And we were allowed to choose which ones we were contracted with. And then the Medicaid rules are going to vary from state to state anyway. Vary from state to state. No. Anyway, oh wait. I see facts. Sorry, I wasn't looking. Hello.
How you doing?
Good. Happy New Year.
You same to you. I think the easiest way to debunk his claim is the difference between an FQHC, which would be a federally qualified health center. I think the easiest way to a federally qualified health center. Those are required. Yeah, those are required to accept Medicare, Medicaid. But like other public health centers, like county clinics, city health departments, community clinics, things like that, they're not required. So he was wrong.
That's what I was looking at. So there's
county clinics, city health departments, things like that, they're not required. So he was wrong.
Right. So the FQHCs, right? They receive the federal funding, so they have to. But safety net hospitals, HCs, right? Safety net hospitals don't necessarily have to. But what the source that he gave me was the requirements on how to enroll for Medicaid. Those are the requirements. It wasn't the source that he gave me was the report for Medicaid. Wasn't saying that they're required to enroll. It was telling them their requirements if they are enrolling.
Correct.
All right. Well, that clears that up. Davey.
Yes.
Hi. How old are you?
54.
Awesome. Is there a topic on the background you wanted to discuss?
Yeah, the only thing that really brought me up is your claim that white men are a public health crisis.
Yeah.
Why would you say something so horrible about white men? Your claim that white men are...
Yeah. Well, you can decide for yourself and have an opinion on the statement, but we can just discuss whether it's a true statement or not. Well, opinion on the statement, but we can just discuss whether it's a true statement or not. So if you want to feel that
black men commit half the homicides in America, so why are they not a public health crisis?
Well, that's actually not true. So
black men commit half the public health crisis.
Well, that's actually not true. So
it's okay. Yeah. How's it not true when the FBI says it every single time they do a national crime survey and uniform crime reports?
Yeah. So here's what's going to happen, right? So if you want to talk about
it every single time they do
right. So if you want to talk about that, you can go start a live and discuss that.
So you don't have any facts
Sometimes,
to back up
excuse me.
your assertion. Gotcha. Okay.
We'll just start a live and discuss that.
Gotcha.
No, because we're not talking about my assertion. You
But
moved.
no, how can you
Hold
say
on.
that white men are a public health crisis when black men are committing 50% of the homicides in this country, and they are 13% of the population?
Black
Would it be
men don't commit 50%.
They certainly do. The homicides in this country, and they are 13.
Don't commit 50%.
They certainly do every single year.
they don't.
Absolutely, they do.
don't.
Yes,
So-
they do. It's
okay,
so the
you're
FBI is
gonna
lying
lose-
about that.
Hey,
The
calm
FBI is
down.
lying about that.
Hey,
you're gonna calm
emotional
down.
wreck.
First of
Can you
all,
calm
what-
down?
Hey, nobody's talking to you, little boy. Be quiet.
Wait, hold on.
You're talking to all of us.
You're
I'm
a
not
white,
talking to you,
wait,
little
why
boy.
are you a white man up here exhibiting that you're the type of man that would flip out and strangle a woman when you don't
You
get the
are
right?
an
Because
absolute
that's what you're
nut job.
doing. So I'm trying to have a conversation with you, and what you're doing is you're
No,
showing
you're not.
how
You're just pushing.
trying to have a conversation with you, and what you're doing is you're
No,
showing
you're not.
how
You're just pushing
emotionally-
sexism,
Well, no, I'm happy to address what you're saying, but
and all you
won't
have is the
shut
mute
fuck
button. That's
up.
all you've got.
Do you want to just keep going? Just go ahead, go. Is there more you want to get off your
Well,
chest?
you're just a, you're,
Do you want to just more you want to get off your
well,
chest?
you're just an idiot, is what you are. Just
Oh,
typical
okay.
feminist. Typical feminist. Absolute
You're
moron.
proving the point, little
Okay,
boy. You're proving
dude,
the
shut
point.
up, dude. Go get a sex change. Okay, no one's talking to you.
Why are you so
You
angry?
want to be a feminist? Go get a sex change.
Okay.
You don't have to be a woman
Who
to
hurt
be a
you, Davey?
feminist.
Yeah,
You want to be a feminist? Go get a sex change.
Be a woman
Who
to
hurt
be a
you, Davey?
feminist.
yeah, what's going on, man?
You do have to be an idiot though to be a feminist. I know that.
Really? What is
hurt you,
feminism?
Just stop, dude. Just stop. Okay, you know what?
Look, if you can't answer the question,
men,
just say
you know
so.
what? White men are the reason why you guys live such a good. Hey, you know what?
Look, if you can't answer the
white
question,
are the reason why you guys live such a good life, and you should be thankful for us.
it takes a big
Yeah.
man to admit when you don't know something. So why don't you be a big man and say, I don't know what feminism is?
You don't even.
It takes a big
Yeah.
man to admit when you don't.
Okay, well, Davey just got a restriction. Hi, Santana.
Santana, what's up, man?
everyone.
He
Hey,
can come.
Facts, how are you?
My restriction will go away in 10 minutes. You can come back up. I just had to remove you. But wow. My restriction will go away in 10 minutes. Up. I just had to remove you. Wow. That was a lot. Where is he? You can request back up, bro, but I had to remove you.
Hi, Santana. I don't think you know who I am, but I am a big fan and I love watching your lives.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I thank you. I
And I love watching your lives.
I wanted to come up. I know you all could handle the man child throwing a major tantrum. I know you all could handle the man. If Ash, if you're okay, I just wanted to share a quick fact about
Yeah.
1350.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the couple of things I love about 1350 that the people who about
Yeah.
1350
Yes.
things I love about 1350 that the people who spew the misinformation tend to overlook is one, the information they're looking at from the crime statistics spew the misinformation tend to, from the crime statistics is from 2019. The FBI has updated a lot more data since 2019 from the crime statistics. The FBI has updated, and so even the numbers and information they're looking at is out of date. And the second favorite thing that I love to bring up is numbers and information they're looking at is out of favorite thing that I love the actual exoneration rate. All right, so they're looking at arrests, not convictions. There's a massive discrepancy when you talk about the amount of arrests versus convictions. And there's a massive discrepancy. Third thing that I love to bring up is even the FBI has a disclaimer on their website when you look at Table 43, and it says that if you do not look at the rest of the context, including the information about exoneration, then the information is missing. Do not look at the rest of the information about exoneration, then the information is misleading. And so even the FBI admits that just looking at the information with the 1350 does not give accurate information, and you'll admits that just looking at the information and you'll misuse it. So I just love to call out those couple of facts around the 1350 myth.
Yep, that's absolutely correct. I appreciate you.
Information, and you're missing to call out those couple of facts around the.
And I really like to make them try to stay on topic, because when they shift, it's because they don't want to talk about what is in front.
Oh yeah.
But he wasn't. I mean, he wasn't. And I'd be happy to stay on topic, because when they shift, it wasn't. I mean, he wasn't. And I'd be happy to let him back up if he wants to, try and address that. He doesn't seem emotionally stable enough to actually have a conversation. And I mean, he wasn't. And I'd be happy to try and address that. He doesn't seem emotionally have a conversation.
Oh no. Listen, I talk to enough crash out man childs every day. I just came.
And
Oh no, enough crash out man childs up here to share that with your audience and your people. And
I appreciate you.
really appreciate that you guys let me up. So
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Happy New Year, Santana.
Happy New Year's to
Happy
all
New Year.
you. Likewise, you guys let me up. So
Yeah.
Happy New Year's to all
Happy New
you.
Year.
Likewise, facts. Have a good one, guys.
Yep, take care.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, so there you go. You heard it here, folks.
I do want to say facts. I don't know if you know who I am either, and that's totally fine. But same thing. I also really enjoy watching your live.
You heard it here, folks.
Say facts. I don't know if you know who I am. Same thing. I also really enjoy watching your live. So thank you.
Thanks, Hall. I appreciate that. Happy New Year.
Same to you.
All right, let's see who's
So thank you.
Thanks, Hall. I appreciate.
all right, let's see who's in the guest request. We've got Daddy Diesel.
Hello, Happy New Year.
All right, let's see who's Daddy Diesel.
Here.
Hi, Happy New Year. How old are you?
40.
Okay. Is there a topic on the background you wanted to discuss?
Why women's realities aren't believable.
Okay. Is there a topic on
Realities aren't believable.
Okay. Are you going to answer that question, or are you going to tell us that they are that we are believed?
Well,
Answer that question, or are you going to tell us?
well, I already spoke to it before, and someone in the comments section said he doesn't know who acts more oppressed.
Hold on. Let's just
conservative men
talk.
or white women, and as a black man, I agree. That's a funny comment, but
Let's just talk. Let's just keep the conversation up here.
yes.
Yes. So say it again. What are you saying? Do you think women's realities are believable, or
Yes.
Yes. Say it again. What are you saying? Or
no? I don't know. Reality is supposed to be reality, irrespective of gender. I've said this before. Reality is supposed to be reality. I've said this before.
Okay, right. But doesn't that, but people can have different realities, and people of different demographics and people of different lived experiences can have, it's a reality, but graphics and people of different lived experience.
The points for me as a black man, I agree with him 1,000%. But when it comes to white women, I don't believe they suffer any type of oppression. The points for me as a black man, I agree with him 1,000%. But because as a black man, we have been oppressed and strange fruited based on white. Because as a black man, we have been fruited based on white women's tears.
Okay,
So
yeah,
when
I agree. I agree.
Women, I'm just like, oh no, I don't want to give any fruited based on white women's tears.
Okay,
So
yeah,
when feminism, I'm just like, oh no, I don't want to give any sort of assistance to someone who has more privilege and power than me. I'm sorry.
I agree with that. And when we talk about yes, and I agree with you. And when we talk about intersection, I think that's why intersectionality is important. And I do run other topics, right? But this is the topic today. And so when we talk about intersectionality and where white women, right, are equally problematic. And I run different topics about white oppressors losing their identity and things like that. So I do agree with you.
So that white man are public health. I mean, that white dude who just crashed out. I mean, I'm sorry, but yeah, he's kind of proven that, but I wouldn't say all of them. That white dude who just crashed out. Sorry, but yeah, he's kind of proven that, but I wouldn't say all of them per se. You know, I'm not gonna blanket a whole, but it's white men like that who who would
Well, all white men are part of the system that allows men
I
like
would say
that
it's
to
also white people. See,
You
I don't
literally just
I
blanketed
black
white
in here.
women, dude.
you
I
also
say black
keep
people,
can you
white
also just
people,
keep interrupting
Palestinians,
me?
because
And
we're all
I
oppressed by
agree.
Israelis.
Did
Black
white
in here,
women, dude.
You're I
oppressed by
agree.
Israelis.
Hey,
I don't
Daddy,
separate it by
stop
gender.
interrupting. Daddy, stop interrupting. Okay? Thanks.
Okay.
Habib
I
Daddy.
Daddy, stop interrupting.
Okay.
Habib
I
Daddy.
agree that intersectionality is important. And I do
أنا
run other topics. Hi, Fatima. Fatima's a refugee in Syria. She hangs out on my panel. So if you all can gift Fatima, that would be amazing. So I agree with you on a lot of these things, and I'm happy to talk about intersectionality
الله يوفقك يا رب.
and where
تقدروا يساعدوني يساعدوني
Fatima on a lot of these things, and
يا رب.
where
تقدروا يساعدوني يساعدوني.
Fatima, I'm gonna mute
أنا
you, okay? Sorry, I don't know if she knows she was muted. And so I agree with you. And as a black man, I would never ask you to take up for me, right? Or to discuss, a black man, I would never ask you to take up for discuss, personally as a black man to a white woman, right? Like that's not your responsibility. And that's, I don't even call him daddy. Yeah. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm not here to tell you like what I don't even call him daddy. Yeah. That's not what what your reality is, or that you owe me anything. But when we speak writ large about this or that you owe this, at face value when talking about gender, or race, the intersectionality does play a role in this. At face value, the intersectionality does play a role, and I agree with that. And I think black men have been harmed by white women, not just individually, but just as white feminism. And I agree with you. And so I'm not asking you to do that for me. But women as a whole, their realities are not believed by society and by men. That for me. But women as a whole, by society and by men, and black women, right, especially, by black men and white women and white men, by society and by men, and black women by black men. And so I agree, intersectionality, there's a hierarchy, and that we have a responsibility to that. But as a white woman, I agree, intersectionality, there's a responsibility to that. But I feel I can have those conversations and call white men specifically out, and then I can talk about women's realities and grape. And I feel I can hate men specifically out, and then I can talk about women's and the things that we live underneath without making it and because I agree with you, and I want you to hear me when I say I agree with you. Hear me when I say I agree with you.
But it's not systemic. You don't know what women go through as an individual. It's individual mistreatment or individual crime. It's not systemic.
Okay. So that's where we're going to disagree, right? Is that what you're saying is that there can't be, right? Is that what you're saying is that there can't be systemic harm against women because there's some women who are not systematically hurt in race, and that's just not false, right? So I agree that white women, right? Some women who so I agree that white women hold power and are not discriminated against because of their race. So inside that, black women, right, will be more oppressed than white women. And there's more oppressors for black women, right, will be more for black women. But as a whole, when we talk about gender, women are oppressed because white men, right, oppress white women. And there are, and then if you want to talk about the intersectionality, yes, there are benefits for white women. White women can choose proximity to safety. White women do have the benefit. Intersectionality, yes, there are benefits for white women. White women can have the benefit of of their white privilege. And this is why intersectionality is important. So I'm not disagreeing with you. But white women are still oppressed.
Off of it. Wait. If you want to take the race off,
but white women are.
Wait. If you want to take the race off of it for a minute, look, I'm gonna say systemically, women are not. I'm gonna say systemically are not oppressed. You can't oppress women systemically. The reason why is because in order for humanity to reproduce, you can't oppress women systemically. The reason why the oppression is never gender based. You can't oppress a gender because society has needed, in order for its society to produce, the oppression is never gender based. In order for its society, its people to reproduce, women are equally as.
That doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't make any sense. Now you're just saying women can't be impressed because you need us to give birth. That doesn't make any sense.
What if every woman was enslaved and used just for reproduction?
That's not going to happen.
Right, but that could happen, right? What if every woman was enslaved and used just for... Right, but that could happen, right? Like, hypothetically?
It happened to a race of people. Enslavement happens to groups of people, not to a gender specific.
Well, then why are women not paid as much as men? All women, right? So when
I never heard of that. I never seen a job that says
you don't know that there's a gender wage gap, that women on average make 83 cents to the dollar that men make.
Do they take more time off due to?
This is a one-to-one comparison. This is a one-to-one comparison industry-wise.
I never heard of any industry that pays.
Okay, well, I'm telling you now, right? And you can find this on the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I'm telling you on the Bureau of Labor Statistics. You can look at the industries, and it'll tell you the median or the average for men and women in those industries. It'll also tell you how many people are in those industries. You can even look at nursing, where nursing is a feminized job, and there's more like. Substantially more women are nurses, yet men nurses are still paid more than women. There's more yet men nurses are still paid more than women.
I find it really weird that you want to speak on the lack of oppression of women because they're women, and you don't know that. So my question to
white women. There's
I'm not done talking. Can you be quiet until I want to speak on the lack of oppression of women because they're women? I'm not done talking. Can you be quiet until I finish? Thank you. So my question to you is, since you've obviously looked into the oppression of women or lack thereof, what are some things that women finish? Thank you. So my question looked into the oppression of women or lack thereof. What are some things that women are not oppressed by? Like what are some equality signals between men and women in our society?
Well, y'all talk about this thing called the patriarchy. Look at you asserting your white dominance over me, telling me to shut up. I'm just your white dominance over me, telling me to shut up. I'm just saying though.
I didn't tell you to shut up. I said to stop talking while I was talking so I could finish what I was saying.
Okay, well, listen to this whole thing about patriarchy, right? They talk.
Stop talking while I was talking so I could finish what I was saying.
Okay, well, point about this patriarchy thing. I, as a black man, do not benefit from the patriarchy. I'm sorry, I'll be damned. No, but you know who does? The white woman benefits hella more from what y'all call patriarchy. This is where the intersectionality. The white woman benefits hella more.
This is where the intersectionality comes in.
55% of white women voted for Trump.
We understand that's the problem. This is where the intersectionality comes in, right? Because you hold power over black women.
No, I do not. I call BS on that one.
So black men make more on average than black women, but black women are the most highly educated demographic in the United States.
Why do you insist on
average than black women, but black women are the most highly educated.
Why do you insist on talking over people?
No, because I'm just trying to spit facts. She's trying to speak for me as a as
No,
a
I'm
black
not.
person.
No,
Rude,
no,
man.
no, no, no. Let me clarify, and I'm going to say this again, right? So if you want to engage in this conversation, I will have this conversation with you. I'm not here to convince you and tell you that you're oppressed or what your reality is, right? To convince you and tell you oppressed or what your reality is, right? My hope is that your reality is it is what it is. I'm not here to convince you of that, right? I'm talking about what we can see and tangible statistics. Did you know that black women are we can see and tangible black women are mistreated the most in the medical system. They have the highest rate of unaliving during pregnancy and
I agree.
childbirth.
That's due to racism.
Rate of pregnancy and
I agree.
childbirth.
That's due to racism, not gender.
Well, it's partially gender, right? Because black men don't face that. The same way that women in general, it's partially gender, right? Because black men don't face that. This in general are being oppressed due to the abortion laws, and men are not. So then when you dig deeper and you pick it apart, right, due to the abortion laws and men are not, we see, you're right, there's intersectionality. That's the intersection inside the gender discrimination. So women, so when we look at the maternal mortality rate, we can look at the gender, we can look at so when we look at the maternal mortality, the mortality and the morbidity problems with our maternal system for all women and people who can give birth, right? So that's an issue that is happening to all women. But then when we, right, so that's an issue, go into the intersectionality and we suss it out, right? We see that there's a racial aspect, right? So that's where we see that like white women go into the intersectionality and we suss it out, right? We see that, right, have a benefit from being white inside maternal health, but they still are being oppressed by the system that all women. So that's the intersectionality. I think are being oppressed by the system that all women. So that's the I think that's what you're missing here, because I don't disagree with all of the things that you're saying. Well, most of them. I think that's what you're missing here, because I don't disagree that you're saying. Well, most of them. I don't disagree with you. I agree that as a black man,
Well,
you
when it comes to
face I don't disagree with you. I agree that as a black man, you face a lot, but it's not because you're a man. It's because you're black.
yes, okay, I will agree with you on that. But
Face a lot, but it's not.
I will agree with you on that. But okay, we find common out. So you're dismissing the gender issue for me. But when it comes to I will agree with you on that. But gender issue for me. But when it comes to AB, it's a non-issue for me. It's like, I get it, fine, call me biased.
But I'm not talking about abortion. I'm talking about.
Right. But when it comes to AB, it's a non-issue for me. It's like, I get it, fine, call me biased.
But I'm not.
Right.
I'm not talking about
access
abortion.
or women's health care. I believe there's been so much advancement made in women's health care. I'm looking at things the way they are now.
Wait, but the way they are now is the worst it's ever been. We're in a maternal health crisis. Our abortion rates are even rising. The abortion rates were declining, but the abortion rates were. The mortality rate has been rising, and it's been rising for black women. And when we look at the morbidities, it's even worse. You can click the link in my bio right for black women. And when we look at the morbidities, you can click the link in my bio right now, right? There's 2 websites you can go to. One's called blackmamas.org, and then you can look at the March of Dimes report card, I think from 2000 now, right? There's 2 websites, org. And then you can look at the March report card, I think from 2023. We got a D+ in maternal health. And then if you look at those impacts for black women, they're worse. A D+ in maternal health. And then if you look at those, they're worse. And this is, again, this is the intersectionality, right? So when we know that when one group of people, right? Or if we look at men and women, right? If we hurt men, black men will be hurt the most. If we hurt women, black women will be hurt the most. So again, I agree with you on the things that you're saying, but there is intersectionality to that, right?
Okay,
If you and another black woman applied for a job and you turned in your that, right? If you and another in your resumes and they didn't know your race, you just by having a man presenting name would have a benefit of being hired and paid more than the black woman, right?
I don't see that.
Well, there's evidence for
my
that.
community.
Hold on,
There are studies for that.
Hold on, there's studies for that. There was a study done where they were, and this wasn't based on race.
My community.
Hold on,
There are studies for that.
Hold on, there's studies for that. And this wasn't based on race. This was based on gender. But what we can look at is we can see that would carry over if they didn't know your race, right? And so they did a study where they gave it, and it was a pretty. You can look at the name of the study isn't called the John and Jennifer study, but you can find it by looking that up. I can't remember what it was called. It's like gender.
I'm gonna say it like this. Wait, let me interject this real quick. You wouldn't have had figures like Kevin Samuels become so popular if black women didn't run my community. Had figures like Kevin Samuels didn't run my community. That was a pushback. The reason why he rose to fame, and the reason why you had, I listened to. That was a pushback. The reason why he rose to fame. I listened to him because he was pushing back. He was trying to present a better image for black men and black women. When he started out, he was talking to black men, and we were like, okay, yes, sir, you're right. This is where we need to improve. But when he went on to talk about where black women needed to improve, yes, sir, you're right. This is where we need to improve. But when he talked about where black women needed to improve, all hell broke loose, and that's how he became popular, because of the controversy.
What does that have to do with what we're talking about?
No, but what I'm saying is she going back to a point of where she's saying black men have more privilege in the black community. I disagree. We have to leave our community to get privilege because black women run our community. I'm just telling you someone who.
Well, wait, what? So, well, look, if there's, hold on. So
and they designed it that way because the white patriarchy doesn't privilege her.
Hold on. So first of all, if there's a black woman who'd like to come up and speak, raise your hand. You can come up, just to make sure. Black women are just doing what white. Their standards are high. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what you're saying as far as like black. So I don't understand what that means. Or what you're saying as far as like black. So I don't.
I'm just saying we don't oppress. We don't oppress no one. We not only do we not have the ability, we do not have the desire collective. I'm just saying we don't oppress. We don't oppress no one. We have collective desire as black men to oppress. As soon as we get money, what do? We leave. We explore. Other options. We don't just stay confined to our community. So I'm just saying
we have statistical evidence that that's not true.
And I don't know.
I mean that
other options. So I'm just saying
we have statistical that black men do oppress women. We have statistical, or rather, that black men benefit from the patriarchy over women in some that black men do oppress patriarchy over women in some situations, and you don't know that because every time we bring up a statistical analysis or a study or something that shows empirical evidence of patriarchy over women in some situations. And you don't know that statistical analysis or a study or something that shows empirical evidence that proves that, you say you don't know about it. So my question to you is, why do you not know about these things, but you want to talk about the lack of oppression?
Because I've experienced too much as a black man.
You do not know about these things, but you want to talk about
too much as a black man. I'm just saying. But when it comes to, again, I never heard of any society that has built itself up without again, I never heard of any society that had their women where their women are how do I say their women where their women are where their women are seen as are second class, they are equally as are seen as are second class. They are equally as important.
Well, you're delusional.
So when we hold on,
You're delusional.
so hold on.
And I'm curious, in the West now, this is not me throwing shade at any religion. I'll pick a country like.
Hold on.
And I'm curious, in the West, Afghanistan, would you say women are more oppressed, quote unquote, oppressed in Afghanistan versus America?
Well, that's not this isn't that's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. That's irrelevant.
That's irrelevant. Okay, fine.
It is irrelevant, and I think this.
America.
Well, that's not this isn't that's irrelevant.
That's irrelevant. Okay, fine.
It is. This is just. I mean, this is just silly, right? So, who are Black women unalived by?
Who are white women unalived?
This is just. I mean, this is just silly.
Who are white women unalived? It's like, okay, men.
White men, right. Most crimes. Hold on. So most crimes are in.
It's like, okay, men.
Hold on. So most crimes are inside their own race, right? So when people like to say black on black crime, that's not a thing, right? Because it's just crime. And so hold on. So most crimes are black crime. That's not a thing, right? Because it's just crime. And so that's one way that Black women are oppressed by Black men, is that they are mostly unalived by Black men.
Yeah, but there are women who unalive men. On top of that, there was.
Hold on, I didn't say that.
Yeah, but
I didn't say that wasn't my claim.
Women unalive women. And
correct, but well, we can look at the statistics of that, right? And
they're less likely to be caught for it.
What?
Women are less likely to be caught.
That's not true.
Can you show me evidence of that?
That's not true. Men are overwhelmed. What?
Women are less likely to be caught.
That's black. That's not true. Men overwhelmingly responsible. White men are overwhelmingly responsible for, first of all, CSAM. But men are overwhelmingly responsible for, first of all, CSAM. Responsible for for unaliving and harm on children. Overwhelmingly responsible for unaliving and harm on children. Yes, women still do it.
Women have the most proxy to children. Oh no, women have the most children. Oh no,
what is that? What does that mean?
Women are less likely to be caught for harming children.
That's where. Show me statistic. What do you mean?
Women are less likely to be caught.
Show me statistic. What do you mean? Show me. That's just a feeling. You'd have to show me that. How would we know that they're? How would we know that they're doing this if they're not?
Yeah, how do you have evidence of people committing?
Show me statistic. What do you mean me that? How would we know that they're?
How do you have evidence of people committing a crime and not getting caught? Where do you find that evidence?
So the problem. Hold on a second, bro. The problem that I've noticed.
How do you have evidence of people committing? Find that evidence.
So the problem that I've noticed, and I've just been listening for a while, is that every time Hull or Ash has presented, empirical data to address the things you're talking about, you take these wild pivots. Like you went to Afghanistan, and then you went to empirical data to address the things you're talking about. You take these wild claims about women and access to children. It doesn't seem like you have much of an argument. A lot of it seems like it's based in feelings. It would be nice to try to have an intelligent conversation that's rooted in some facts, like it's based in feelings. Fact, because you've not said anything that are factual. Everything I've heard has been your feelings.
No, there are a number of stories.
Stories are not facts.
There are a number of stories.
Stories are not facts, okay? Stories are not facts. Data would be facts. Would you agree? Because a story would be anecdotal. Because I could tell you stories as well. That would be anecdotal. That's why we don't use anecdotal experiences to try to debate. That's why facts are important.
Anecdotal. You can't be dismissed because we're talking to.
No, you can be anecdotal. You can dismiss the anecdotal because it can't be proven to try to debate. That's why
But you can't
facts.
be dismissed because we're talking to.
No, you can be anecdotal. You can dismiss. Like I could tell you right now that I just saw somebody steal 25 Chevy pickups out in front of my house. Would you believe me? Now that I just saw somebody steal 20.
No.
Diesel, white men
Exactly.
use anecdotal stories all the time to perpetuate racism.
No.
Diesel, white men
Exactly.
use anecdotal perpetuate racism.
Okay, I can agree with that. Fair enough.
Exactly, Hall. Exactly.
But here's the thing, y'all. Wait. Do you not see how I would feel as a black
racism?
Fair enough.
Exactly, Hall. Exactly.
But here's man. Now, if I'm getting it on the right for being black, and I have to constantly be in defense and worry about my man. Now, if I'm getting it on the right, be in defense and worry about my blackness on to people on the right. You know, if it's on site for me as a black man when I am among blackness on to people on the right, for me as a black man when conservatives, because while all conservatives are not anti-black, I would not put that on them. Those who are anti-black hide well among conservatives. But then if I go to the left side of the political spectrum and I'm getting all this shit of anti-man, wait, I'm like,
anti-man? What's anti-man about what's happening here? So the only thing anti-man, so first of all, I'm addressing white men, which is white men, right? The patriarchy and racism, those are here. So the only thing men, which is white men, right? The patriarchy and racism, those are two systems that are
even though me and him have a disagreement in some aspects, you will put the black man and the white man together as like
I don't, and that's incorrect, and that's where you keep hold on, and that's I don't, and that's that's incorrect. No, please don't put words in my mouth. I've made it very clear that there's an intersectional aspect here. I could remove the top 3 topics and I could add made it very clear that there's an intersectional aspect here. Topics and I could add the other intersectional topics, right? But that's where like there's so much other intersectional topics. But that's where like there's intersection, right? We could add disability in as an intersection. Right? There's all sorts of places disability in as an there's all sorts of places. It isn't binary, right? It's not just man or woman or black or white. There's a major intersection, and that's why I keep saying I agree with you. Right? It wouldn't it be silly if you came in and I as a white woman was like, what if my background said black men are a problem too? Right? I as a white woman, black men are a problem to black women, right? Like that would be weird for me to do that. Right? Mm-hmm. But as a white woman, I'm holding white men, black women, right? Like that would be white woman. I'm holding white men responsible, right? And then I am a woman, right? And I am, whether you want to see it or not, based just on my gender, I am oppressed. I could also run the topic that white women are just on my gender. I am oppressed. I could also run the topic that white women are problematic, and I have run topics like that before. And that would also be that would also be a true statement. And I have run topics like that before. That would also be a true statement. I, as a white woman, could easily hold the topic that white women are problematic, and maybe I should, right? But there is intersectionality there. There is.
Oh, okay. Would you say oppression, classism is a form of oppression, right? Would you agree?
Yes.
Poverty. Okay.
Agreed.
So are you going to tell me a rich woman? Let's. I don't like to. Let's look at this man and woman. Are you going to say a rich woman is oppressed? No.
Well, yeah, yes.
I'm going to say a rich woman is oppressed.
A rich woman in Alabama would not have access in the same way to abortion. A rich woman in Alabama would not have to abortion, right? Now she might have more avenues out, but she would still be oppressed, right? She would have to use funds to escape the laws but she would still be oppressed, right? The laws in Alabama or whatever, like anti-abortion or maternity desert that she may live in, right? So what you'll see there is that she has a privilege to escape the oppression, right? So other people who don't have, right? So that's where somebody who doesn't, so I see what you're saying. And yes, but why is she having to use her privilege, right? Because
Can I ask a question? Sorry, Ash.
Yeah, no. Facts. Go ahead. As a matter of fact, I'm going to mute myself because I got to do something. So go ahead.
I was gonna say, Daddy. So in our system, who has more privilege, a poor man or a rich woman?
The rich woman.
Really?
Yep.
Think about that. Think about the answer to that question. So do poor men? Are there any laws? Really? Think about the answer to that question. So do poor men? Are there any laws? Are there any laws in our country denying a poor man rights to their body?
That rich woman, the women.
Let's answer
can
my
move
question.
to
Hold on.
another state.
Answer my question. Are there any laws? Because again, we're talking about the pinnacle of privilege. We're talking about access. We're talking about rights. We're talking about protections. So are there any laws in our country that tells a poor man what they can or can't do with their body? Our country that tells a poor man what they can or can't do with their body?
I believe that's a gotcha question, but fine. No.
It's not intended to be a gotcha. It's just reality. So then, therefore, under our system, a poor man has more rights than a rich woman.
But the poor man has to struggle day to day.
We're not talking about struggling. We're not talking about struggling. We're talking about the system, right?
And
the system.
I believe that system, far as tax breaks the way it is now, that woman who's in the upper class benefits.
Again, that's not
system, far as tax breaks the way it's.
Again, that's not the question. We're talking about the system. We're not talking about little caveats here and there. If all things being, again, that's not the question. We're talking about if all things being equal, there's, first of all, as a white man in this country, a system built by people who look like me to benefit people who look like me, to protect people who look like me, right? I'm at the pinnacle, right? Who look like me, to benefit people who look like me, to protect people who look like me. So wealth certainly provides privilege to other people, no doubt about that. But in our system, women are oppressed. So wealth certainly provides privilege to other people, no doubt about it. Women are oppressed by our system because they don't have the same rights as we do.
Well, hold on. Let me give you this. I don't believe
women are oppressed have the same rights as we do.
I don't believe oppression is gender-based. I believe that drives a wedge between men and women. I believe that drives a wedge between. I don't believe oppression is gender-based. I drives a wedge between.
Just because you don't believe it, Daddy.
Yeah. Do you think that couldn't you say the same that talking about the oppression of black people? Couldn't you say the same that talking about the oppression of black people could create a way?
Yes, there we go. Black. Okay. There we go. Black people.
On. Wait.
People, not gender-based.
People could create a way.
Yes, there we go. Black. Okay. There we go. Not gender-based.
Well, because we're talking about race, and race is not gender. So when we talk, right, that's why. That's why. Because race is race. And then when you talk about gender, you split up gender. Right? So you agree that there's different sets, like you can fall into different categories of oppression, right? So you agree that people who live in poverty or who are poor have less opportunities, right, than somebody who has money. Who live in poverty or who are poor have less opportunities, right, than somebody who has money, right? And that would be two groups of people, right? An oppressed and then a non-oppressed, correct?
Yes, but
And then we hold on. I'm gonna get there. And then we've talked about the oppression, right, of Black people, and then we're talking about the oppression of women, which you may or may not agree with, right? So, do you think that those can intersect? Because the question I'm going to ask is, do you think that in all cases, people who have more money will have more privilege than people who don't?
yes, of
Okay.
course.
So then, hold on. I'm getting there. So Black women who have a college education, make six figures, are married, and have good health, they are still at a higher risk than white women in poverty when it comes to maternal health. So do you see how it's not true in all cases because of intersectionality? So it's the same thing for gender, right? When you have those all separate, it's not true in all cases because of intersectionality, gender, right? When you have those all separate, right? If you take all the different classes not classes, when we're talking about different groups, different demographics, and we're putting them all differently, right? Separately, there's some truth, but then when you intersect them together is when you realize that it's not equal. So the same way, then when you intersect them together is when you realize that it's not that a Black woman. It's the same thing for Black men, right? If a Black man who makes six figures, that a Black woman, it's the six figures, right? Walks in wearing a jogging suit, right? He's looked at as somebody who, six figures, right? Somebody who, is sloppy, right? But a white man is different, right? It's the same way when you intersect these things in and you add in the perception and then the racism and then it's the same way when you and then the racism and then the other systems that cause oppression, when you intersect them together, it doesn't make each one wholly true anymore. Other systems, each one wholly true anymore.
Okay. Like I don't, that guy who had the crash out earlier, the white dude who you had up here, I don't want to be on his team, right? I'm not, oh dear Lord.
I don't think you are.
No, but he be on his team, right? I'm not, oh dear. No, but is it possible in the slightest way that you could see, if you can see that you could take me, a Black man, and him, even though we will disagree on matters of race, put us in a corner to a Black man and him, put us in a corner together, and then all of a sudden we find commonality, and then we start to set aside our differences and say, hey, maybe we need to come together on this, and
sure, two individuals, yeah.
Hey, maybe we need to come together on this.
Sure, two individuals, yeah. I could
Which
you?
I wouldn't. But here's the thing: Black perceives me being a man.
I'm sorry.
But see, Black goes ahead of me. That's the thing. Like I see perceives me being a man.
I'm sorry.
I see as a Black. That's the thing. I see oppression as based on people. One group of people. I see as a Black. That's the thing. I see people oppresses another group of people. I don't believe you can birth an oppressor and be oppressed at the same time while you're still within that system. I'm sorry.
Well, you can't necessarily be the oppressor and the protector of the same oppression, right? So I am not a victim and I'm not oppressed by my race. So I am not a victim and I'm not oppressed by my race. I never will be. Right? So but I am oppressed by my gender. Right? So but I am oppressed which means that I'm not an oppressor of genders. So I agree with you, but it feels like you're just missing the intersectionality portion of it. And so when you add in the other layers, the conversation is deeper and more complex, and that's where you're at. And I don't disagree with you. You're already in the intersection, and as a Black man, my only assumption is that like what you're saying is true, and the way and because you feel it in the intersection, and as a Black man, my only assumption is that like what you're saying, you feel it because you live it. So I'm not here to tell you that your reality is wrong. Your reality is correct. Your reality is your reality. You feel it because you live it. So I'm not here to tell you that your is correct. Your reality is your reality, and statistics show that. But what I'm saying is that when you add in the other intersectionalities, right, there are benefits that you have. But you're correct. Black and brown people, intersectionalities, right, have. But you're correct. Black men and women in the systems benefit the least. And that is true, right? So interestingly enough, right, if you and I, right, put in our, and that is true, right, put in our resumes and they didn't know our race, interestingly enough, you would have a better chance of being hired. If they knew our race, I would have to look at the statistics. That's where the intersectionality is interesting, right? If we worked together, right, we would have to look at the intersectionality of a white woman who typically makes more than Black men, right? So when we talk about the wage gap, there's an intersection of the wage gap as well, where I believe white women make more than Black men, right? So even inside the gender wage gap, when we just talk about gender, there's more intersectionality that needs to be discussed, and it is complex. I agree with you.
Hold on. I say, why not believe the truth? Because here's the thing: women have been known to lie, not just on not just white women to Black men, but there's been women in general who have lied on athletes. I can name a case of this guy who was he was a Dodgers pitcher destined to make millions of dollars.
Are you really doing this, man?
Really? I'm just saying, why not say
come on.
To a lot of lies women have told.
Maybe men should just stop. Maybe men should just stop graping women. How about that?
Oh, that's a given. Murder should stop. Oh wow,
this is why this is frustrating.
Why are you?
The reason it's frustrating is because I'm genuinely trying to have a conversation with you, and I feel like we're getting somewhere, and then you just pivot to something, and now we're just gonna have to talk about like the patriarchy again. Pivot to something, and now we're just gonna have to talk about like the patriarchy again. And we're gonna have to talk.
Listen. Actually, I get what I understand what you're saying, but
and we're gonna have to talk.
Listen. Actually, I get what I understand what you're saying, but
why did you go there? I mean, seriously though, why did you go there? Why did you go there?
Women's realities get distorted by the lies of other women. That's things. But
why did you go there? I mean, seriously though, why?
Women's realities get distorted by the lies of other women. That's the thing. So I would just rather stand in I would rather believe the truth and say that
believe the truth that white men are predators and men in general are predators to women. How about believing that truth?
Oh wow.
And if you want to talk about the truth, let's talk about that truth.
The bear if we're predators. I mean, I'm like, you're free to go for the bear.
Why do women choose the bear, Daddy?
Don't call him that.
Yeah.
Why do women choose the bear?
Because some men are not trustworthy. Some men, right? But the man who is and doesn't want to be bothered with the bullish when he's in the forest, he's like, cool, go ahead, choose the bear. I'm the type to tell you go ahead, choose the bear, because I'm not gonna be bothered with your bullish while you're ciphering whether I'm not gonna be responsible for whatever other man did to you or whatever. You're not gonna hold me.
Hold on one second. I'm gonna introduce Hawk, are you a friendly?
You're not gonna hold
Okay.
me
I'm
accountable
gonna.
for.
May I?
Are you a friendly?
Yes, I
Yes,
Okay.
awesome dude.
I wasn't sure. Nice to meet you. People were saying to let you up. Okay. Nice to meet you. I'm Ash. And then I have my other friend down in the bottom as well. Jay Hops. How are you?
I'm good, thank
You're
you.
good. All right, Hawk. Did you want to?
Well, in the last section of what he was talking about or whatever, first of all, why do you automatically assume that women are lying and this type of thing, right? And then to go to what Facts was saying or whatever, you're talking about the fact that some men do this. What we as men don't seem to want to understand is how do women know which ones are and which ones are not? Right? So you're sitting here talking about how you're not going to put up with the bullish or whatever. That's what they're saying. So all you have to do is be a good man and prove it to them, and then they will pick you over the bear. But what you want to do is defend what men in general do, and you shouldn't be doing that. Don't even defend yourself. Just do the right thing, and then they will see that you're an okay guy. But what you want to do is fight for the patriarchy, and that's the problem.
How am I fighting for the?
But what you want to do is
Fighting for the.
Dude, almost everything that you've said since I've been in this room
because the
is
patriarchy
supporting.
does not benefit me as a what? As a
Yeah,
black for the.
dude,
patriarchy.
almost every
As a what? As a
yeah,
black.
yes, it does.
Yeah.
It does not.
No,
it does not benefit you. Okay, so I put this in the chat several times. This is the hierarchy in the United States, right? White men, white women. You could probably throw Latinos under there, and then black men, and then black women. We're at the bottom, right? However, as men, we do have some privilege in the patriarchy because we're men. We have less than white men because we're not white. We understand.
The whole thing talking about the patriarchy distracts and deflects from solving matters on race on the left.
I'm sorry, sir.
Race for black men, we're not prioritized. Black people, we are not prioritized. We got these gender and LGBT, all this. I'm not against nobody. It's just, hey, we are. It's just being, I don't see white folks as having a problem. I'm sorry, because here's the thing: that white woman will use a black woman for the feminist agenda because they're both women, and the black woman has a strong, powerful, loud voice. Okay, we know our sisters can get
Actually,
loud.
they don't. Actually,
but
they
once,
don't.
Once
Hold
the
on
white woman is comfortable, they'll ditch the black woman, and they've been known, and that's been known to happen. For your political strength and your energy, your strength as a black woman.
You're monologuing. Can I respond to you're monologuing? Can I respond to some of what you're dude, you're monologuing. Can I respond to some of what you're saying? So first of all, the white woman's voice is not as strong as you make it out to be. It's actually the black women's voice that the white women co-opt. So that's the problem there. You're not completely wrong, but you're giving them credit that they haven't earned. That's the intersectionality that Ash has been trying to tell you for the last 30 minutes, right? Women as a whole are oppressed, but white women can co-opt the voices of black women, and their privilege allows them to do that. That's the intersectionality there. Does that make sense to you?
But if white women, if white women didn't have issues, they dang sure wouldn't listen to the black woman. My goodness, man, come on, women, the black woman. My goodness, man.
What you're missing is the issue that white women have is a woman's issue. The black women fight harder in most cases. Issue that white women have in most cases for those issues, and then the white women co-opt that and they get credit for it. But the work was done by the black woman. In most cases, for those issues, was done by the black woman.
Yes, and they are discarded because they still have the matters of
and guess
race.
What? Guess why white women are able. But guess why white women are able. Guess race. What? Guess why white women are able. But guess why white women are able to do that? Patriarchy. Because of their proximity to the white man, they have more privilege, and that privilege is because of their proximity to the patriarchy because they're white and they are in proximity with the white man. So their voices get to co-opt the black women's voices. Again, you have to understand the hierarchy from top to bottom. At the very top is white men, not just white, white men specifically. That's the top of the hierarchy. Everybody else suffers some form of oppression. If you're not a white, cisgender, heterosexual male in this country, you suffer some form of oppression.
I'm telling you, it'll be so much easier.
That's not real life, sir.
Have this, all these other groups, or all this made up, like.
That's not real life, sir.
Have this,
but this is what you're missing.
Easier to deal with.
Diesel, this is what you're missing.
The racial matter.
Diesel, what you're missing is the white patriarchy is the system, and that is run by white men. All this other stuff that you're saying we're confusing stuff with or whatever, guess what? The white patriarchy does that on purpose.
It's the same.
The caste system that you're talking about, They created that.
It's the same system.
The racial system that we're talking about, they created that. The white male created all of this. It's a white patriarchal system. That is the male created all of this. It's a white patriarchal system. That is the problem. You can't take the rest of the stuff out because they built it into the system.
And it's important to talk about it again, right? It is. You can't dismantle patriarchy without talking about racism. I agreed, but these systems are built to hold power and dismantle patriarchy without talking about racism. I agreed, but are built to hold power and control you and me. It's the same. It's the same system, right? Inside those systems, there are the things that we're talking about, the intersection, right?
I'm sorry, but if you live in a nice neighborhood, white, nice, predominantly white area, and I'm in the ghetto as a black man, and I have to struggle to come up to where you're at, I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna see white women as being victims of.
But what you're missing at Diesel, what you're missing at is we have places like Appalachia and stuff like that where you have white people living in the same type of poverty that so-called black people in the hood do. It's not just us in the hood. There are poor white. Matter of fact, there are more poor white people than there are poor black people.
But
poverty that so-called black people in the hood do. It's than there are poor black people.
But they side with whiteness. Because look who they voted for.
But it doesn't benefit them.
But they rather take the social.
There are poor black people.
But they side with voted for.
But it doesn't benefit them.
Take the social status of whiteness and improve their class situation.
And Diesel, that is by design, my friend. That is by design of the white patriarchal structure. You're right, but that is by design. They want us all down here at the bottom fighting amongst each other while they sit at the top in their glory and their power. That was done on purpose. You're right, but that is by design. They want us all down here at the bottom fighting amongst each other while they sit at the top in their glory and their power. That was done on purpose. Remember the Willie Lynch letter? Which wasn't true, by the way, but the aspects of it make sense, right? It's the same ideology as the Willie Lynch letter, right? That was about the white man having the light-skinned slaves against the dark-skinned slaves and the house slaves against the field slaves or whatever. This structure is the exact same thing that we're talking about for everybody. They've got poor whites thinking that they're better than blacks just because they're white, right? When basically they're all in the same boat and they just don't know it. That was by design.
Perpetuated, and it's like, even with class, it's hard for me to come together with some white folks on class issues because once we're used up to make them comfortable, just an example, like after World War II, when white people got back home from World War II, they were allowed to move up and create what we call the American middle class through accessing the GI Bill, right? But who was not allowed for that, even though we fought just as hard? Black veterans.
100%. I am a veteran.
So that resolved the class problem for them.
What
but
happened?
We'll still maintain the racism for us, maintain the system of race, and then further down the generations.
Nobody's arguing with that. But what I said to you earlier.
Hold on, Hawk, real quick, and you can take it from here. While you're on that task, that point, what was happening with the women at that time?
Exactly.
They were moved up into the house. The
No.
white men moved them into the same. Hello. That's how they had their. I said they were able to move their
Diesel,
families up.
Diesel. During the war, while men were overseas fighting,
The white men moved them into. I said they were able to move their
Diesel.
families.
In the war, what were women doing?
Working,
and running the country. And when the men came back from the war, what happened to women?
Okay, war is over. Get back.
Kill your ass back home and go back to washing dishes and taking care of the babies. That's what women were told after the war. So women suffered too. Not the same way that blacks from the military suffered with not getting the GI Bill. By the way, about 3 or 4% of blacks did get the GI Bill.
That's what happened to us.
But my point to you,
I think the white woman had it good. I'm sorry, but
that's your opinion, sir. Just like Fact said to you earlier, that's your opinion. What I stated to you earlier is everybody below the white T male suffers some form of oppression. Just because you think that their oppression wasn't as bad as our oppression doesn't mean that they weren't oppressed. They were oppressed. They had the privilege of going out and working for a living and taking care of themselves like they wanted to do, and that was taken away from them. That, sir, is oppression. Now, you don't think that's the same or as bad as what happened to the black soldiers that came back from the war, but it's still oppression. The fact that you don't think it's bad is your personal opinion, and it means nothing except to you.
Well, I'm sorry, but when we talk about, I believe in prioritization, and I believe the racism takes more precedence, takes more priority in solving over white women living comfortable in the suburbs.
I agree with you.
I don't think anybody argued that point.
Real quick.
Okay, long as we agree on prioritizing the plight of black people.
Daddy, I agree with you. I agree that black people need to be prioritized over any other oppression. Except that
that's what I was looking for.
Hold on a second. You're forgetting that there are black women. And even if we put racism above the oppression of women in general, black women are still going to be oppressed because they are women.
And I hate to break this to you, but in terms of prioritization, sometimes things have to be done in tandem. They can't be done alone. So you can't just say this is above everything else or whatever. Sometimes you have to do 2 and 3 things at the same time in order to make it work. So your version of prioritization might not necessarily fit what we're talking about.
Well, hold on. Look, Sonia Massey, and let's say many other black people, right? Black regardless of our gender. She had a son. Look, Sonia Massey, and let's say she had a son, she had a brother, she had a father. So I don't believe in wedging, when it comes to these things that are crucial in my eyes and should be crucial.
She also had
and
a
prioritized.
mother. She also had a mother. Why are you only talking about men? This
I'm
is
confused. Yeah, I'm confused about that.
It's about not driving the.
Had a mother. Why are you only talking?
It's about not driving the wedge between genders when we need to prioritize where these things should be, where elevation.
If that's true, Diesel, then the way you stated that should have been.
These things should be where elevation.
She had a family, which would have covered everyone.
She had a family.
But what you did was you highlighted the men in her family and ignored the women. So again, you're still thinking she had a family. But what you did was you highlighted the men in her family and ignored the women. So again, you're still thinking with the patriarchal mindset and you don't even know it.
It just seems, Diesel, that you're just denying the existence.
So again, you're still thinking it.
Denying the existence of oppression against women. Black, white, brown, irrelevant. It just seems like you're denying the systemic oppression against women.
Because I don't believe.
So you are.
Men who hold power.
Oppression against women.
Because, well, I don't believe men who hold power would oppress their women. I'm sorry. It's just.
I'm sorry.
Wait, what?
Well, I don't believe men who hold power would want to.
I'm sorry.
I
Look
don't.
at
I
Wait,
this.
don't see
what?
that
Like that's
Look,
wait, what do you mean? So your
because
claim is hold on. Your
they might
claim
oppress
is
somebody else's women.
hold on. Your claim is that you don't think white men would oppress white women.
No.
from the
Okay.
very beginning, they have.
What are you?
No.
I mean,
Women seem just fine when I've
you,
women seem just fine when I've passed through the homes and suburbs and looking. I'm like, no, they seem just fine.
how do you
No
know
more
what's
stories.
happening? How do you know what's happening inside the home? Let
Suburbs and looking. I'm like, no, they seem
how do
just
you
fine.
know? How do you
No
know
more
what's
stories.
let's look at domestic violence inside the homes that generally hold. Let's look at domestic violence inside old like white Christian traditional gender roles, right? These are going to be old like white Christian those neighborhoods that you're driving through, the ones that go to church, right? When we look at domestic violence, where do you think we find the highest rate of domestic violence?
Yes, men towards women, but women can too.
You keep saying women can too when we right that would be silly for us to say like that we see police. You keep saying women can too, and that would be silly for us to say that we see police violence against black people, right? And I were to say, well, sometimes we see it against white people, right? Like that's silly, right?
Yes,
That's giving all lives. Well, it's giving all lives matter.
I don't believe in the all lives matter, but actually,
Diesel.
one of the worst ones
Diesel.
I've seen.
Oh Lord, I didn't.
Are you familiar? Hang on one second, bro. Are you familiar with the one vote theory?
What's the one vote theory?
Okay, bro. Are you familiar with the one?
What's the one vote theory?
So Christian nationalists believe this theory that the master of the house would be the man, and that the man votes. He's the only one in the house that's eligible to vote because he speaks for the house. That is predominantly house that's eligible to vote because it is predominantly from white people. So that would be an example of white people oppressing white people. Not only white people, but their own is predominantly from white people. People oppressing white people lives, their own family members, their own children.
And can I add this real quick? I put this in the chat before I came up. Diesel, do you understand that there are various forms of oppression? For instance, women can be oppressed by their husbands just based upon. You understand that there are various forms. For instance, women, their ideology and their religion and everything else or whatever, those women in their homes are oppressed by
Well,
their
that's what I was
husbands.
getting at. Exactly. And somebody made a good comment down here that marital rape wasn't outlawed until 1993. So prior
Exactly.
to 1993, men could force sex on their wives and it wasn't considered rape. Would you agree that that would be a form of oppression to be able to leave? 1993, men could force. Would you agree that that would be a form of legally?
I would say that's definitely wrong.
Wait, but it's not oppression. It wouldn't be a form of oppression.
Well, fine. That part, being a. Well, fine. That part, I never heard of nothing like. I'm not. Well, yeah, that would find out if you want to say that's oppression. Okay. But when I think of oppression, I think of things that are on a larger. Well, yeah, that would find out if you want. But when I think of oppression, I think of things that are on a larger systemic scale.
I got something for you, Diesel.
Yeah,
I got something for you, Diesel. When were women able to apply for divorce?
Just going there, Hawk. Good call.
Not sure.
It was in the.
Just going there, Hawk. Good call.
Not sure.
It was in the 70s. When were women able to have their own bank accounts and credit cards, Diesel?
Not sure.
In the 70s. So it wasn't the 70s. When were women able to have their own bank accounts and credit cards, Diesel? In the 70s. So it wasn't until the 70s. Women were oppressed simply because they couldn't do anything on their own. My mother couldn't buy a car in the 60s without her husband or her father's signature because women could not have credit. Women could not have bank accounts.
Today in healthcare, women.
Because women could not have credit.
Women often can't even get tubal ligations or hysterectomy on the
Right,
on the
without their
basis
husband's
that their
permission. That's correct.
husbands might want to have more children. Women often can't even get tubal ligations or hysterectomy or have more children. There is systemic harm and oppression against women. Systemic harm and oppression. Wholly. But I want to add this caveat because I want you to hear this because it's important, and I think this is where your mind add this caveat because I want you to mind is and I don't want I'm not dismissing it, right? There is harm systemically against all is and I don't want I'm not dismissing all women, right? But when there's systemic harm against all people or groups of people, it harms Black women more. That's the intersectionality. And it is important. And I'm not dismissing that. And I know that you feel that, right? But just like Hawk said, when we work in tandem, we can't dismantle one without dismantling the other, right? And there isn't enough space on my background to run every topic. I do run other topics there, right? And there isn't enough. And maybe I should run the topic white women are problematic. I mean, maybe I should just run that point blank. I have no issue with that.
White feminists and got called all sorts of names by white when I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm don't know what I said to offend you, but you don't have to use the low IQ thing. That's been something that's been used to harm Black people to diss me.
Wait, but nobody up here has.
No, not you. I'm just saying on another panel. I gotta say,
that's racism.
I just want to say this real quick. Sorry, fellas, I tried. What
do you mean, fellas?
I guess the white man who brought me here.
No, we're not going to do that. You're just highlighting, sorry, fellas, I tried. Like, honestly.
If I may, real quick.
Yep. It's highlighting, sorry, fellas, I tried. Like,
I may, real quick.
Yep.
Diesel, I am a Black man, and from the sound of it, I'm older than you. And you ain't tried nothing for me because I disagree with everything you've said since I've been in this live, right? I'm trying to get you to understand the history of this country. I'm trying to get you to understand the history of this country as well as the history of the individual subgroups within this country, right? Meaning all the marginalized groups in this country. And I hate to break this to you, but every group in this country except white, heterosexual, cisgender, meaning all the marginalized groups in this country. And I hate to break it, heterosexual, cisgendered males are a marginalized group. That includes women. Women are a marginalized group. Black women, even more so. The LGBTQIA is a marginalized group. There are many, many, many different marginalized groups in this country, and they're all oppressed on some level by the white male. That is patriarchy, sir. And if you don't understand the history of any or all of those groups, then you're speaking from a point of your feelings and not from any facts or data that can sustain or back up anything that you've said. You're just sitting here complaining about stuff that you don't like. And that's fine, but there's no data to back that up. So that's just how you feel. We're talking about actual facts and things that we can change by shifting that data, back that up. So that's just how you feel. Change by shifting that data to where things are more equal for everyone.
Daddy.
You just want to feel good.
Oh, I don't like saying that. I don't like saying daddy. Dad, I was actually talking to Fax and Hawk.
Yeah, but I call him Diesel. There's no way in hell that word is coming out of my mouth for him. No
I know. Hawk.
Yeah, but I call him Diesel.
I know. Do you? Oh shit! Now I forgot my question. Hold on. I was gonna ask.
While you're thinking, Ash. So Diesel, do you understand?
Oh shit! Now I forgot my question. Hold on. I was gonna ask.
And I mean, a lot of people, and I could not agree more with what Hawk just said. Do you understand the way that he just broke that down? And I mean, a lot of people, and I could not agree more with what Ash described it, in the way that I've described it to you, is to the big piece that you're missing here. The way Ash described it, in the way that I've described it to you, is to the big piece that you're missing here. The way Ash described it, in the way that I've described it to you, is to the big piece that you're missing here. The way Ash described it, in the way that I've described it to you, is to the big piece that you're missing here. The way Ash described it, in the way that I've described it to you, is to the big piece that you're missing here. The way Ash described it, in the way that I've described it to you, is to the big piece that you're missing here. The way Ash described it, in the way that I've described it to you, is to the big piece that you're missing here. The way Ash described it, in the way that I've described it to you, is to the big piece that you're missing here. The way Ash described it, in the way that I've described it to you, is to the big piece that you're missing here. The way Ash described it, in the way that I've descri Ash described it, in the way that I've described it to you, is to the big piece that you're missing here about the oppression of women in our society. And again, as a cis white hetero male in America, I understand about the oppression of women in our society. And again, as a cis white, I know my privilege and I'm trying to unpack it as much as I can. I'm aware of it. It doesn't offend me. I know of it. We're asking for you to finally start to understand that, yes, there is massive amounts of oppression against all marginalized communities. And Hawk's absolutely right. Women are massive amounts of oppression against also marginalized in our system. You may not agree with that, but it doesn't change the fact that it's real.
Exactly.
Also marginalized in our system. You may not agree with the fact that it's real.
Exactly.
Listen, due to the fact that there are white women, I cannot see white women as marginalized, and therefore I'm not going to say marginalization is based on gender, if that makes sense.
But you have,
Because
but
of
you're
all
not.
this-
Hold on, you're not basing it on gender. You're not. Right there, you put white in front of women, right?
Marginalization is based on gender.
Hold on, you're not basing it on gender. You're not. Right there, you put, so you're not, so it's not. What you're saying is that you can't see it because of race, and I agree that when you put white in, so you're not, so it's not. What you're saying is that you can't agree that when you put white in front of it, right? That yes, white women aren't oppressed because they're white, but they are oppressed because they're women. And then if you say, are white women or black women more oppressed, I would say black women are more oppressed, right? And then if you were to say white women and black men, right, there's a whole slew of questions and situations and things that intersect where I would say white women hold power over black men. This is that intersectionality where I don't disagree. I would say white women hold power, intersectionality where I don't disagree with you. And I do believe that we have to work as those things. And I think that when we use our voices, right, like I work in maternal health, intersectionality where I don't disagree with you. And I do believe that we have, and I think that when we use our voice, and I care for all pregnant women and all people who can have children, right? But, and that, right, even if we,
I commend you for your job to humanity.
thank you. Right. But inside of that, right, we give a little bit more attention
For your job to humanity.
Thank you. Right. But give a little bit more attention, and we pick special projects and we work with certain groups, right, that take care of black women and families, because inside of that, we look at who it harms the most. Right.
And going back to something Hawk said earlier too, Diesel, do you think Ash is a white woman and me as a white man? Do you think we are at the same level in the hierarchy?
Honestly, yeah. And if you want, hold on. If you want to take it further, if you really want to go there, honestly, I believe white women.
Yep, I knew it.
My friend had this discussion. Hold
Yes.
on. Me and my friend, depending upon how she looks and age and whatnot, this is not me. I'm not trying to. Depending upon how she piss people off, but it's just truth. They got a leg up above white men.
Yes. So hold on. I wasn't gonna ask the question, but I'm gonna
piss people off, but it's just truth. They got a leg up above white
question, but I'm gonna ask it. This was the question I forgot and then I thought that's stupid. Do you think men are oppressed?
No, we are not oppressed per se, but we have to work harder.
But there it is. Hold on. The fact that you're so no, there it is. That's it. I like this is
per se, but we have to work harder.
But there it is. Hold on. The fact that you're like this is wild. And the reason I wanted to ask that question, I thought there's no way he's going to answer that because you are adamant that white men are a problem. But the fact that like this is a question, I thought there's no way he's going to answer that white men are a problem. But the fact that you're so willing to say that there's absolutely no gender discrimination, but that you couldn't answer it when I asked you about men tells me all I need to know. That's it. This isn't about, in my opinion, this isn't about race. You don't like women because you don't even want to protect the black women. This isn't about, in my opinion, this isn't about race. You don't like women. You don't even want to protect the black women.
Hold on, time out. I had a daughter by a
Okay,
white woman,
okay, but
believe it or
you
not.
came in and said
I love my mom,
did it.
even though she died of a
Okay,
heart attack being
well,
obese.
that
You know,
doesn't mean
I love
anything. Do you?
My God,
Why
stop.
couldn't? Hold on. But when I told you, right? Who
this.
unalives and harms black women the most? It's black men in their community, right?
Right, but that's
Okay, so harms black women the most.
right, but that's
Okay.
that's just
Right. What do you mean that? Well, that's just what. You're right.
that's not right. It's wrong. It's a crime. It's an individual crime against.
Okay,
That's just.
right. What do you mean that?
It's a crime. It's an individual crime against an
No,
individual
right.
person.
Well,
It's not systemic.
well, hold on. It's crime, right? But that's what I'm saying, right? It's based on gender, right? And proximity, right? When we see gender based violence, we see this gender, right? And proximity, right? White men unalive white women the most, right?
Yes.
Right. And so, but typically white men unalive white women the most, right? And so, but typically we see, black men, that's proximity. It's based on gender.
But it's highlighted when a black man commits a crime towards a white woman. It's hella highlighted and taken out of.
I agree, and that's racism. I agree. I agree, and that's racism. I agree. I agree that it's not discounted.
And I'm ashamed of any black person who commits. Look, here's the thing. I believe in some level of individual accountability. I'm not a conservative, but I will. But a lot of conservatives have had me on their panel and said, "You think? Why don't you just come over to the right? Why are you still on the left because of race? You're bullshitting. You work a real world job. You think along our lines. You're just stuck on race. Why don't you come over here to our side? Stop the BS." They have said this to me, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but I just can't rock with what y'all talking about. But I do believe in levels of individual accountability in spite of our systemic oppression as
Diesel,
black people.
Okay, if
did
I
you
may,
know
real
that? Did you know that one of the pillars of white supremacy is hyper individualism?
Mm-hmm. And if I can add to that also, you just contradicted yourself in the last part of that statement, because the systems of oppression that are in place make it where it is extremely difficult for the individual to necessarily be able to do things in the best way possible because of the hardships that the system has put on them. So those individual levels of accountability that you're talking about, some people are forced into circumstances that they don't have any other choice or very little choice to do anything about, where others are not. So the system is the problem, not the individual. If we fix the system and correct those problems, then those individuals wouldn't have that excuse anymore, and they would do the better things. That's the part that you're ignoring.
That's exactly right, Hawk. When I talk to other white people, and I think I've seen Ash do this too, about racism, I talk about if there was not what you just said, if there was not a system that backed our actions, it would just be people being assholes.
Yep.
And that racism is the system. And the racist is the person who is acting within that system.
But here's the thing. I do believe you have good intention, but I could see where they're saying on the left, which I align with because it's just my ideas as far as free healthcare, housing for the homeless, and just things that are morally righteous. I tend to lean that way, but I could see where often the left has unintentionally, without intent, robbed individuals of their agencies. In this case, we're seeing this with women. In some cases, we're seeing it when it comes to races with black people. I'm sorry, but
robbed us of our robbed us of our agency. How?
Robbed intention. Look, if a black man tries to rob me, I'm sorry. I've been a victim of attempted strong arm robbery twice by a black man, and I'm like, I understand we are in the same system, bro. And I'm not giving you a pass when you try to strong arm rob me.
Hold on a second. Stop. Because that's not addressing what you made the statement that somehow or another that the left has unintentionally robbed us of our agency.
No, unintentionally tried to, unintentionally.
But my question is, how are they robbing us of our agency?
Well, saying, okay, for instance, within this whole taking accountability away from women.
That's not happening. Well, hold on. Wait, back up. Wait.
Taking
Hold on. What do you, wait, back up. I didn't mean to say that. What do you mean? What accountability are you asking women?
So when you have this issue in America where women are unable to get some form of what we call health care in regards to what they desire, just go to another. You can go to another state, or in the case.
Wait,
no.
I'm talking about take the great out No. Back up. Hold on. You said women need to take accountability. What do women need to take accountability for?
No. Okay, look, I didn't say need to. I'm saying you're robbing them you're unintentionally taking accountability away from them. Like for you have the AB laws in the southern states, for example. Either when it's not grape, if you're in that state and you're a woman,
so now you're just saying. So hold on.
Go to another state. You got the funds. If you want to go to. You got states that do like Colorado, California, New York.
Stop. What are so we're shifting now, and you're saying that women aren't oppressed because they just want to get abortions, and if they can't, they can just go somewhere else, take accountability. What the fuck are you talking about, honestly?
I just heard Ash. I just heard him say, if you don't like it here, you can leave.
Right. Exactly. He's blaming the vaccine.
Yeah. What? Like how does a
Lord, see, now I didn't open up a can of worms. I'm gonna
ask you to explain what you mean because you very much are saying. Hold on. You can't say that you don't believe people are oppressed on gender and then say something like women need to take accountability and then not tell me what. Right? I'll tell you what I think men need to take accountability for. What do women need to take accountability for?
Well, to say that women can do no or have no agency when it's like you're saying.
How do they not have agency?
That's what you're saying. No, I believe that's what the left does. With you're saying, because of AB laws, or that's just an example, or because of. I'm just saying
women in certain states have lost agency. What are you talking about?
But they have a number of other states that are blue states.
I couldn't leave right now. If I needed an abortion right now, I couldn't take off work, pay for an abortion, drive to another state, find childcare for my daughter. Like, what do you mean? Like
aren't there states that actually, if you try to go cross state lines to get an AB when you live in a state that it's not legal, that you can be prosecuted?
Yeah, and J-Hop, doesn't JD Vance want to do a little inspection for women leaving states?
Yes.
I think I heard that. Yeah.
Yes.
But if I may,
JD Vance, over here saying you ain't got to, over here giving the racist dog whistle, you ain't got to apologize for being JD Vance.
Okay, stop reading the comments, please, and just pay attention to the conversation up there.
Diesel,
I'm paying attention.
Diesel, but to me, you have contradicted yourself numerous times because earlier in this conversation, you were talking about classism and that you understood classism. If you believe that, then you should also know that just because they changed the law in this state, the average person, because of classism, can't just pack up and move to another friggin' state. It's not easy. And that's the issue. They shouldn't have to.
And there are laws against it too.
Fair enough. Yeah. I was just saying it just seems like you're
Do men have to pack up and leave any states to get health care for their bodies?
Actually, in some cases we gotta leave the whole country if you want to go there.
Why?
For what?
What law?
Why?
Why?
That's a universal health care. That's the issue of not having universal health care. Yes, there are some states that have.
Wait, no, I've asked about men. Is there any reason why a man would need to pack up and go to another state to get health care that he can't have in another state?
Not based on gender.
Correct.
But,
right? So there's a gender discrimination right there, right? Women would have to leave states to receive certain health care and men don't. There you go.
I say it's based upon class. I, for instance, have to go to a whole
No,
other
because
country.
no. You're adding in the extra layer, which I'm going to describe to you again, right? If somebody has the money to leave, why are they leaving? Because of what? Because of oppression, right? So there's the reason, right? And then there's the added layer, right? Of who is oppressed even further, right? People with money, right? Maybe a minor age, maybe somebody with a disability, right? Maybe somebody has the money, but they have a disability, right? And they can't leave, or what have you, right? Or maybe somebody who has a fear of or they don't have a vehicle, right? Maybe they, whatever the case may be, maybe they can't drive. Like, there's all sorts of other layers of why somebody with money may not be able to leave. Maybe they're in a domestic abuse situation, right? You know, where their husband is abusing them and they can't leave, but they have money. You're muted. I don't know if you know that.
I don't mean to be contrarian, you know. I'm just, you know, I'm just giving, you know, this conversation has been. I'm just giving food for thought, you know. I don't want people to. Oh God.
Oh, yeah, Fo, sorry, my little thing was like covering up the whole bottom panel. Fo's so polite. He literally will just, I'm sorry, they will just raise their hands and so go ahead, Fo. Bottom panel. Fo's so polite. Raise their hands and
Hi, thank you for letting me up. Just for TikTok 22 and Daydam. Yeah, I came up. Hi, thank you for letting me up. Yeah, I came up. I think it was initially for the systemic thing that he was talking about, but I do want to add to the abortion thing because I think you don't understand when it comes to abortion laws that most states have abortion law. I'm sure some of them are like. So I think. Well, let me look at here. 28 of them have more have a wider access, sure, but still the fact that 41 states have these abortion bans is actually harmful to the women within America, and to which 13 of them have absolute, what's it called, has a total ban on abortions, right? And many of the states that have the bans in the first 18 weeks, I think most of them are 6 weeks, right? And I could probably find another stat which shows that most people who are pregnant find out around 8 to 12 weeks. So this is actually incorrect. So this wouldn't be beneficial to the livelihood of these pregnant people to just up and move to another state. Especially when the points that the others have made when it comes to these governors and the states themselves trying to outlaw people moving away for abortions.
yeah, and to go off that as well, these laws and these bans are impacting people who are trying to actively get maternity care for wanted pregnancies as well. And then it impacts people with wanted pregnancies who face complications and some of the worst decisions that they have to make in their life. And doctors' hands are tied due to these laws. So, I mean, it's just, this is my wheelhouse as far as like women's healthcare goes. So, I mean, there's all sorts of things that we could get into. It just feels like you don't like women, and that
Quite accusatory, and I don't mean to be contrarian. I'm just trying to state things. I was just trying to state things, you know, from because we all have different perspectives. I'm just saying, you know, as someone who is a black man, I just want you to think about that. If I feel attacked on the right, if I feel because of the covert or now openly overt anti-black racism that is where they're being comfortable displaying on the right, and I come to the left and I feel like I'm getting bashed as a man, do you not see that there's a issue?
Well, hold on a minute. You said there's no oppression based on gender, and you just said
but there can be attacks based on, you know. I didn't say oppression, but there are definitely attacks and scrutiny that's kind of the issue or misplaced grievances.
Diesel, the issue here is that when you go on the right, what you're seeing is the systems that impact you, and what I would agree are the things that we need to address firsthand, right? The racism and bigotry and all the isms, right? I think the issue is that, like, I agree with you, right? As a Black man, you are heavily oppressed in lots of different areas. I think that you're just having a hard time in understanding that do you know what a Venn diagram is?
No, I never heard of Venn diagram.
Okay, a Venn diagram is, you know, when you see like three circles and they're overlapping and there's some that don't touch each other, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is a portion, right, where you hold responsibility in oppressive behavior, but a lot of it is where you are oppressed. So nobody's arguing that, right? But it seems like you're having a hard time maybe taking responsibility in or not even taking responsibility, because like I said, I'm not here to tell you, right, as a Black man, a white woman, as to tell a Black man like what you should or should not do. We're just looking at the facts, right? And that there just is discrimination and systems that oppress women, even white women. And then that Venn diagram works the same for us, right? Like I there's a lot of areas where my diagram, I'm going to hold privilege.
Right.
But then
But
there's a
here's the
portion
thing I'm
that
concerned about, if I may address the concern real quick. So when you as a white woman, or not just you personally, but other white women, when they are comfortable with the gender issue being solved, because let's resolve these matters, fine. However, when you're comfortable, what am I going to be concerned about? You leaving us behind, not just as Black men, not just as a Black man, but you also leave Black women behind, Black people behind, Black children behind when it comes to our racial grievances. So are we seeing the feminists rise up and fight because they're feeling uncomfortable, just like I'm seeing with the Latinos? They're rising up because they're getting targeted by ICE and they feel uncomfortable. But when that's resolved, will they continue on with their anti-Black racism?
I'll let Fax and Hawk go here in just a second. I think those are fair concerns. I'm not saying that based on history that those aren't concerns that you should have, right? But kind of like Hawk said, working in tandem, right? This is where feminism and the new wave of feminism has a role in not being the typical. This is where intersectional feminism comes in, right? Reading the books, reading the literature, understanding. Like, it's a little frustrating to me because we've been up here now for a couple hours and described the intersectionality and described how we do these things together and how one works this way and then inside of it you can see this way. So I think I'm frustrated because I feel like it's been explained and you can see it, but you're
okay. I understand. Listen, I'll concede to some things. I understand that women might be mistreated. I don't want to say oppressed, because I believe oppression and mistreatment are two different things in some areas. Grant you, fine. But
say this real quick. Hold on, real quick.
When you resolve that as a white woman, when the gender issue is resolved, the Black woman and Black people, when you're saying you want us as allies,
the gender issue, hold on, that's where you're missing it too, right? One of these aren't going, they're not going to be resolved. Like the gender issue won't be resolved while racism is still here, and racism will not be resolved while the gender issue is here. It's the same system, right? Yeah, go ahead.
To his last point, though, I have to say this, right? When he was talking about he with women, he didn't want to call it oppression or whatever. He'll call it something else. But that's just like, and this is another form of intersectionality. That's just like a white person telling me that I should get over it, right? It's not really racism. I should just get over it. It's the exact same thing, sir. It is the exact same thing.
Bro.
Yes, it is. And that's the issue. Hold on a second. Let me ask you a quick question. And this is just for my own edification, please. Can I ask you how old you are?
40.
Okay. I'm 64. I have lived through a lot of the stuff that we've talked about in the last hour or so since I've been up here or whatever, right? And the problem that I have when you're trying to make this comparison between the right and the left, you're not getting beat up on the left. You just don't have the knowledge to have that conversation on the left because you base things on your feelings instead of actual data. And so you feel backed up into a corner when you get hit with facts and data that you don't either know or understand. That's an issue, right? And I'm trying to say this in as nice as way as possible because I'm really not trying to attack you, but education is key. We need to understand the history of all the different factions that this country has gone through in the last 250 years. Literally, this year is 250 years, right? Understand the history of all has gone through in the last 200 and we have to understand all of that history in all of those marginalized groups to be able to have these conversations. And you don't have that. You just have your feelings about how certain things have affected you or people
I
around
got a feeling
you
about who's being
without
prioritized over whom,
and
and who's going to be feel
again
comfortable with our
and
expense
again, sir,
and our efforts.
without knowing the information on each and every faction that we're talking about, you can't even make that statement. That's your anecdotal viewpoint from something that you saw that this thing is taking priority. We all understand that racism is a priority, right? But again, as I just stated to you with the statement that you made about women a few minutes ago, white people have been telling us for decades, if not centuries, that we need to just get over it, right? That's basically what you just said to women. Right? It's not really oppression. It might be something, but it's not oppression. Just get over it. That's what you just said. So you need to understand all of those things
I
to
believe that's
understand
false
that
comparison, sir.
intersectionality, and then you can have the conversation. You're not trying to have a conversation. You're just trying to tell us how you feel.
Hold on, did you want to jump in real quick?
Yeah, but
Oh, I
unfortunately,
just called him
I lost the
Diddy.
point I
That
wanted
was
to
an
make.
accident. My bad. That was.
I
I
heard
swear to
that.
God,
I
I'm so
did hear
sorry.
that.
No, that was an actual accident. They were saying it in the. Sorry, that was literally. I don't know what that. Yeah, that was an. I swear to God, that was just an accident. Yeah, Diesel. My bad.
On unfortunately, I forgot what I wanted to state. What was the point you made? Yeah, it's not coming to me. It's fine. I'll let you know when I have it.
Okay, sorry. Facts.
I wanted
Go
Diesel
ahead,
to,
Jay.
sorry, I wanted Diesel to explain how he said a while ago, and a lot's happened since then. So if he doesn't remember, that's fine. But he said that women not being able to get ABs in the state they live in, or the laws that were made, was unintentional oppression.
Oh, no, I didn't say. I said that. I would say that's more mistreatment, not oppression. I believe fine, women can be mistreated by the laws, by the system, fair enough, but they can be mistreated by men on an individual, but systemically, those who create the system and maintain the system need to have they do things on a systemic level. Why? So they could pass down the power to their next generation.
So, white men were the ones predominantly that created those laws that are
yes,
oppressing women.
And we've
Not
given you
mistreating.
I'm sorry, Ash. We've given you at least 10 examples throughout history of where women couldn't even vote until 1920.
Fine,
Right? They didn't have a
you
voice.
call it oppression. You will call it oppression, but I'm saying
Okay,
if I'm going to
Diesel.
look at it object.
Diesel, what do you think? What do you think happens when women are forced to have children when they don't want to? What do you think happens? Do you just answer that?
When they're forced to have children,
Yeah.
well, there's potential for child abuse right there because they're, there's
Right. Let me ask it in a broader way, right? Like, what does that create, sort of like wholly and systemically for women in and as society, women who are forced to have children? What does their main role become?
I guess First of all, I don't see in this society where anyone's forced to have a child they don't want to.
Okay. Okay. So if I,
But what do you mean?
so if I
forced
can't
to
have, so if I don't, well, right. So if I can't get an abortion and I am forced to have a child, I would be having a child I didn't want, right?
Okay. Well, hold on. You didn't have the option, but you knew ahead of time you didn't have the option to get abortion in that state or in that location, and that's why.
Some states don't allow. And some states don't allow for when you're raped. So it doesn't matter, right? So people can't. Yeah, Adrian.
I said outside of grape. I said, if it's absolutely, you
right,
should.
But these laws, hold on, but there are plenty of states that don't allow for grape and after 6 weeks, right? So even people, right? So regardless, and I don't want to get into an abortion debate with you because honestly, I would just school you. But saying that,
I actually would agree with you on some things. I actually
because saying that you agree to get pregnant and that you knew what you were doing when you have sex is just like a wild thing to say.
But this is what I'm saying also, though, about understanding the history of this country. Do you realize that ABs have only been, air quotes, legal for about 45 or 50 years? Before that, they weren't legal then either, right? And then we got our stuff together, we figured it out, and somebody came up with Roe v. Wade, and then they became legal, and things got better. Now they're trying to take that away. So when you talk about women not being oppressed, I can show you 100 different data points throughout the last 100 years where laws were in place that kept women oppressed, and you will simply say, well, no, they were just kind of being mistreated.
Hold on. No. Listen, hold on, man. And ladies and gents in here, when I say oppression, when I'm thinking of oppression, y'all know I'm thinking of towns being burned. I'm thinking of people who
You
look
don't
like
get
me.
to. What's the what is oppression? You can't just change the definition of something to fit how you. Hold on.
I think when you say oppression, you're taking away from somebody.
They are.
I'm thinking you have to.
Diesel.
They are. You are. Hold on. Stop. Yes. This is the problem. This is the problem. Is that you look at women. And you're like, it's not that big of a deal. It's not oppression if you're forced to go through 9 months of physiological and emotional and mental changes to your body and then be labeled a mother for the rest of your life. That's insane for you to say that.
Diesel, would you agree that women not being able to have access would be unjust treatment?
I wouldn't say unjust per se, but I would say it's mistreatment. Fine, since you, but there are other places in the world that don't have access at all, and they're just fine. I'm just saying when I think of
what do you
oppression,
mean they're just fine? What do you mean they're just fine? What does that mean?
When I think of oppression, I think it has to be immediate threat to your life. That's the thing. Immediate threat to your life. That is oppression.
That's not oppression.
In mass, based upon what you are born. Immediate threat to your life based upon the group you are born into.
Immediate threat. Okay, so it's not oppression. Sorry, go ahead, Hawk.
Real quick, Oxford Dictionary: prolonged, cruel, or unjust treatment or control. That is one baseline definition of oppression. So you're saying it was unjust or it was just mistreatment. That's part of the definition of oppression.
Yeah, I mean, there's would you say that arresting black men at a disproportionate rate, right? Like,
yes, that is systemic oppression.
Well,
yes.
But is there if they're in prison, right, or whatnot? You said it has to be like an immediate threat to their life.
Well, control finds.
Oh, okay. So now we're shifting. Okay, so now we're shifting, right? So we're talking about control, right? So when we take control.
How about the state of being subject to unjust treatment or control? How about mental pressure or distress? All of those things fall under the definition of oppression. So all of the things that you're trying to use to take us away from oppression actually means oppression.
And you also said prolonged, Hawk, and he's saying immediate.
Right, which isn't part of it. and unaliving isn't necessarily part of it either.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, I would say that some of the worst oppression and the way that this system is done is through things that people like don't see. Right?
Exactly.
So like right? Like when we talk about medical racism and we talk about the conversation and the mortality and the morbidity rate between white women and black women, right? It's the way we know it's medical racism is by like the operation of I don't know what it's called, right? By deduction, right? Is that when we look at and we remove things, we still see that there's racism and that black women at the top of the quote unquote hierarchy, right? They still have poorer outcomes than white teen pregnancies on Medicaid.
To bring this whole thing around again, I think from observing this, Diesel, it seems like you only believe oppression exists racially, but not through gender oppression. The reason I say that is because the example that Ash just gave is a great one about the intentional targeting of black men in our criminal justice system, which would be a denial of rights. Would you agree, Diesel?
Yes.
Okay, so then women in our society, and Hawk gave you the list before, not being able to have a checkbook, not being able to buy a home, et cetera, et cetera. Would you also agree that those are denial of rights?
That is mistreatment by a system.
Not the question I asked you. That's not the question I asked. Would you agree that they are denial of rights?
Yes. Yeah. Fine.
There you go.
Yes.
Then there's oppression. Thank you.
No. That's not. Yes. Yeah.
You.
No. Oh God.
The fact that you cannot
wait. Time out. No. Fine. Let me roll that back. Fine. Hold on. Time out.
But you can't.
Oh God.
The fact that you can't.
Fine. Hold on. Time out.
But you can't roll it back, sir. If that was your initial thought, that's how you think.
Oh Lord, denial of rights. But if everyone in that gender, if it's gender, denial of rights. No,
stop thinking in terms of gender. Hold on, real quick. Stop thinking in terms of gender. Think marginalized groups. And hold on, real quick. Stop thinking in terms. And I've told you, every group in this country, other than white teen men, are marginalized. So think marginalized group. Forget that it's gender. You can disagree all you want. The facts say otherwise. See, this is the issue. You only want to go by how you feel and your personal thoughts on stuff, which is fine. You have that right, but that doesn't make it true. The facts say otherwise. Every group in this country, other than white men, is a marginalized group, and you refuse to see that, and you're trying to make excuses for it, and that's why you sound the way you sound to everybody else on this panel and in this live. Right? You're making excuses for oppression because you don't want to consider a certain group of people, in this case, white women, as a marginalized group. That's a personal problem, sir. They are a marginalized group, whether you want to agree with that or not.
Women in general, Hawk.
And Fo wants to say something.
These are. I think you need to understand. We can use an example of just like the history of like the Europeans coming to Africa, and from that point onwards into America and how it stands now. Is that when it comes to oppression isn't just the instant harm caused to you, whether it be a life or death situation, right? But rather a slow encroaching and methodical means of way to assert yourself as the better person or better thing over one other person or group, which we saw with Africa and the colonization, which led to the transatlantic slave trade, right? Because we saw like the 1500s and early 1600s, the Portuguese, the French and such going into Africa and other places, documenting these groups of people and documenting them as quote unquote different racial groups, and then from that they would make this hierarchy of race and deem that their race quote unquote different racial race and deem that their race, the white race, to be on top of these black people and other non-white people, and therefore since they had that belief, they would colonize the land, right, through slow means, whether it be pretending that they're helping the land, so on and so forth, which is why we also see such methods going on today. Like for example, the Christians and the Mormons going into, poor countries and doing missionaries in order to persuade these persuade these people into giving up their way of life for that religion in order for them to help them, right? So it's not just straight to unaliving, but it's slow. So it's the same exact thing for women of all kinds, regardless of race, class, and all these other aspects you can think about. It's still going to be the case. So just because the oppression isn't as extreme, it's still going to be oppression.
And this is where that intersectionality comes in, where I need, and it's my responsibility to recognize where my privileges are and understand where that falls in the hierarchy. It's why I am having some of these conversations, because I can. It's why I understand where that falls. I am having some of these conversations. I still DM with certain people because I can, right? When I see the harmful things that they say, it doesn't impact people because I can, right? When they say stupid things about other marginalized groups that her and I are not a part of, it doesn't impact me emotionally, right? I can have those conversations. That's my responsibility. And then it's my responsibility to go in to Black spaces and listen, right? And I often don't join those panels. I listen because that's where I see where I am an oppressor, right? And that's where I learn what language not to use, right? I fuck up. I've fucked up. I've had people had to say, hey, you can't say this or that didn't work that way, right? So it's a learning curve. And so I get it, right? And that's why I keep saying I'm not here to tell you what your experience is. But it just seems like you're having a hard time seeing where
I just don't want us to be you is what I'm saying. Like, here's the thing. I'm just focused on prioritization over intersectionality because I believe intersectionality has not really moved.
What is intersectionality?
Exactly.
What is intersectionality?
Oh my Lord.
You're not, no, tell me, what is intersectionality?
Meaning someone can have multi experiences based on where they intersect. Like, for example, black gay woman, right? She's a black woman who's part of the LGBTQ, but also a woman, right? But here's the thing. I believe one should be prioritized over all the other because that one is
what does that mean, prioritize?
No, no. Because a black woman shares being a woman with white women will get elevated from their situation that marginalizes that mistreats them. They will get elevated from what mistreats them when the black woman fights with them, but the black woman will still be
that's incorrect.
First and foremost,
with the black man instead of, hey, if you prioritize us as black people, economically elevate us as black people. Let's elevate that first. Because you can
Diesel,
come in and out.
Stop for a second. First and foremost, your definition of intersectionality is incorrect, right? The intersectionality is the oppression, right? For instance, if this can happen to the black community and the same thing can happen to, let's say, the LGBTQIA plus community, that's the intersectionality. We're not in both of those groups. You might only be in one of those groups, but they intersect because the same oppression happens to both groups. That's intersectionality, right? And the oppression is bad regardless of which group.
I'm still
talking,
behind.
Sir. I didn't interrupt you. The same oppression happens regardless of what group you're in. So when we speak of intersectionality, we're talking about how oppression affects all of us, regardless of what group you're in. We're talking about how of us, right? And the only group that does not get any oppression really at all is white men. Every other group suffers some form of oppression. And depending upon what form of oppression that is, there's intersectionality between two or three or more groups because they face the same form of oppression. But the other thing you need to understand, and I said this earlier, there are many different forms of oppression.
Let me
did
ask
you
you,
hear
Dad,
him?
Diesel, let
Sorry,
me ask
hold
you.
on real quick, Ash.
Sorry.
Hawk, did you hear him interrupt you and say, but I'll be left behind? So his concern is that if we focus on Black LGBTQ women, that him as a man will be left
A
behind.
straight man, because
Right.
white people will be elevated who they share those
Which
groups
is
with.
fine.
That's not.
We get it.
We
You just
share the
admitted
white.
in
There's
front
white
of
people
all
who
of
share the obvious. We're on the feminist life,
Right,
so
you
Diesel.
just
there's
admitted in
white
front of all
women.
of these people that it's okay for Black women to be oppressed because they're
The obvious. We're on the feminist life,
Right.
so
people, that it's okay for Black LGBTQ and their women, just as long as it's not because they're Black.
no, I
And
didn't
and
say it
Jay
was
Hobbs.
okay for them. Oh my Lord.
And Jay Hobbs, this is exactly why he said earlier that those conservative groups that he goes into said that he should be on their side because that's how they think.
Yeah.
Well, the
That's
As
issue
one
long
is
as
thing
it
I
doesn't
wanted to
affect
Just gonna
ask.
point
me,
that out.
I'm okay.
And that
all
was one of those, I
political
wanted to ask
affiliations go
you,
out.
Diesel. So Black women are the highest educated demographic in the United States. So why don't they make more than Black men?
Are they in engineering and science and all
We're
that?
looking at
It's so
one to
Yes.
one.
that's
Yeah, we're
Yes.
looking at one to one
okay. Then
compared.
there's a
Yes. Well,
problem
hold
there.
on.
Obviously,
Hold
there's
on. Okay.
Right.
Hold on. Just pause for a second, right? I'm trying to get you to understand, right? Okay. So
obviously
hold
there's
on. Okay. Hold on. Just pause for a second, right? I'm trying. This is the intersect. This is where I'm going to try to explain it to you again, right? And so when we look at this is the intersect. This is so when we look at race, we can see that white people, right, make more than Black people. When we go in and section it out, people, right, make more. Go in and section it out, we can say that because of race, white women will make more than Black men on average, right? Okay. But Black women, right? If it was all based on merit and there wasn't gender discrimination when we talk about this, Black women should make more, well, really than anybody, right? But why aren't Black women making more than Black men? Because of what? The discrimination of.
no. I believe Black women make just as much, in some cases more.
They don't. Black women
It,
are,
They
hold on,
don't.
they don't. Hold on, you're not answering my question. You're just trying to say that what I'm saying is not true, and it is true.
no.
So hold on.
They
Hold on.
don't.
They don't. Hold on. You're not saying that what I'm saying is not true, and it is. Hold on. I want you to answer my question, right? So if there's no discrimination between gender, why do Black women not make more than Black men,
Well,
or the same? Why do Black women not make more?
well,
Right?
because Black men will probably take on a hard,
No, these. Well, you're saying probably.
different
So do
type
you know?
of job.
You can say I don't know the answer, or you can say that it's because of gender discrimination, right? Because if Black women are the most highly educated, we know that the reason they aren't making more than white women or white men is because of what? Racism, right? Okay,
Right.
but then why?
Yes.
So then why wouldn't Black men and Black women be on the same rate? The same as white women behind white men, right? That's based on what? It's not that hard. It's not that hard. What is it? It's not that hard. If Black men aren't making as much as Black men, if Black women are not making as much as Black men, and white women are not making
It might
as
seem
much
like
as white
gender on the
women,
surfaces, but men take different jobs.
these
When I
are
come
one.
across
No,
America,
these are one to
men
stop.
take
No,
on the
you're still
manual
not
labor
listening.
jobs that women will not
You're
do.
still not listening to me. This
And,
is
and
What?
these are one-to-one comparisons. Full-time jobs, right? Remember I gave you the example earlier when I said that there are more women in nursing than men, but men still make more. Let me ask you another question.
Well, there's something wrong with that.
Hold on, I'm going to ask you another question. In nursing than men.
There's something
Hold
wrong
on,
with that.
I'm going to ask you another question. What do you think somebody who watches vehicles in a parking lot or somebody who watches children, what do you think is more valuable and what do you think should be paid more?
Someone who watches children.
Okay, so what if I told you that parking lot attendants and like valet type positions make more than the feminized role of watching children?
Then that's not okay.
And why? Okay, and what is
But that could be a
okay?
rich.
Hold
They could be
on.
working for the rich.
Wait,
I
no,
guess.
no, no. Hold on. So, what do you where do you think right there is the common denominator, and why? Right, more men fall into those fields. Right, those are seen as blue collar, man jobs. Right, and childcare is seen as what? Feminized jobs. Right.
Right.
Okay, so that would be gender based, right?
Right.
Okay. So are you tracking what I'm getting to? I'm showing you examples.
And I believe the government should supplement child.
I'm not asking you for solutions, okay? You don't get to make solutions until you recognize the problem, okay? So do you see where the gender discrimination is here?
Yes.
Okay.
And
So do you
Ash,
think it's
can I-
oppression if we don't allow women to make as much as men for the same, if not for harder jobs? Do you think that causes barriers and holds women back more
Yes,
than
but
holds
I
women
am
back?
saying I've never seen a job that has a pay discrepancy based on gender. I've never seen a job that
Okay,
Because you
but
didn't look.
but hold on, but it's there. You can just go
I've
look it
never
up.
seen.
It's there. I've told you this. Are you saying? Do you believe me, or are you saying that I'm lying?
I think
No,
I understand.
I'm not saying you're lying. What I'm saying is I never heard of any job that a man.
So,
I thought a
okay.
job pays what a job pays regardless of the gender.
It
Okay,
doesn't.
but it doesn't. You can look this up on the Bureau of Labor Statistics. You can
It
look
doesn't.
up the one-to-one comparisons. I think it's chart 37. Go ahead, Hawk.
Are there other factors involved in these?
No, they're just one-to-one comparisons.
1-to-1.
Full time.
Then
You
there
might be
needs to be
confused.
some
Like,
lawsuits.
well, I think maybe there's some
I don't know.
confusion. I think there may be some. Like, do you think that when companies advertise for a job, they say, "Hey, we'll pay women 60,000 and we'll pay men 70,000." Is that what you think? We'll pay women 60,000. What you think?
I think that's how it has to be framed in order for me to
That's
see it.
that's not reality. They can't do that. That's first of all, that's against the law from an EOE perspective.
Exactly.
Well, hold on. Wait. Advertising the position is against the law. The reality of the circumstance is such. I worked in corporate America for over 20 years. I was a C-level executive prior to going out on my own. I worked in corporate America for executive prior to going out on my own. I've seen it firsthand. What Ash and what Hawk and what others on the panel have been talking about is the reality. You've got to stop denying it. And I want to bring this up based on something you said before. When you said you were in right-wing panels before, do you think it's problematic that many people on those panels say that you more align with their beliefs than people on the left?
I'm getting fought on. The only time I fight with the right is on matters of race, which is my biggest thing. Like,
Okay,
Exactly.
well, you're getting challenged on the left because of your view about women, which aligns with a lot of people on the right. Don't you think that's problematic?
Look, I align with Dave Chappelle. Hold on. Dave Chappelle is like my prophet. I align with him.
I don't care. I'm not talking about Dave Chappelle. I'm talking about think that's problematic.
Look, I align. Chappelle is like my prophet. I align with him.
I don't care. I'm not talking about Dave Chappelle. I'm talking about what I want you to answer the question I just asked you. Don't you think it's problematic that you're getting challenged by people on the left for your care? I'm not talking about Dave Chappelle. I'm talking about what I want you to answer the question I just by people on the left for your views on women.
Maybe, but these are my views. These are not views that I got from the right. These are just my
I didn't say I know they're your views. That's why we're challenging you, because your views align with a lot of people on the right because they see women the same way that you do, less than.
If I can add to this, when you say that these are your views, I'm going to add to that. And again, this is not meant to be a personal insult, but it's your uneducated view. Many times in this conversation, Ash has tried to tell you what the data says and what the facts are, and you refuse to believe that or even go look at it. Because I know she said it just like I always do. Please don't take my word for it. Go look it up yourself, and you will see the data supports what we are saying. The only thing that supports what you always do. Please don't take my word for it. The data supports what we are saying. What you are saying is your personal feelings. You made a statement a few minutes ago about jobs that men can do and women can do or whatever. Who made those rules? White men. Because we're all human beings and women can do that job just like a man can. But women aren't allowed to do those jobs because we've been socially conditioned to think that men are supposed to be doing this type of stuff and women are supposed to be doing that type of stuff. And you're snubbed somehow in society if you buck the system. Right? So it's not that women can't do those jobs. Women aren't allowed to do those jobs because of the way our society as a whole thinks.
I want y'all to notice something. Hold on. They're saying people on the left, and I'm paying attention, I'm in this conversation, but they're saying I have a victim mentality. What does the right like to say about black people when we express our grievances about
Do you think that there
victim
are no
mentality?
racist?
So I'm being called.
Diesel, do you think there are no racist people on the quote unquote left? Like, I'm not
Oh no,
really.
there absolutely are.
Okay,
So
so then
there
why?
absolutely are.
Why are we taking this back to a political ideology?
No. What I'm saying is, I get it on both the left and out. If I don't align, but see, here's where the racism comes in for me on the left. When I don't align,
that's not true. Stop. First of all, stop for a second.
I'm gonna tell you a story. I got called.
No, hold on, Diesel. Stop for a second. Diesel, stop for a second, please, Diesel. Let me say this. First of all, please stop looking at the chat. You're having conversations with 6 other people up here on this panel. But in this conversation, hold on. In this conversation, none of us have said whatever it was that you read in the chat. I'm trying to get you to understand that this is an issue of knowledge and education. You don't understand the things that are factual or data supported, and you're only going off your feelings. We're telling you, if you go look at this data, if you study the history of this group or that group or the other group, then maybe your ideology will change. You simply want to defend your current ideology. I'm still talking, dude. I'm still talking, dude. See, this is the thing. You can't get what we're trying to say because as soon as we say something you don't like, you start to talk over us. I'm simply saying a better education on the topics that we're talking about. The history of women in this country, the history of the LGBTQIA people in this country, the history of the indigenous people of this country, the history of the Latino population. If you understood those things better and you also looked at the actual data, the peer-reviewed studies and the facts of all these different topics, then maybe, possibly, your ideology would change. But you won't do that. You're simply arguing from the standpoint of what you believe you already know. You won't grow if you do that. And that ideology would change. But you won't do that. You're simply arguing from the standpoint. And that's what we're arguing.
If I don't align 100% with someone on the left, I could get the same met with the same anti-black racism that
but
I
you
do
haven't.
from people on the right.
Hold on. On this panel, you haven't.
Saying,
forget the chat.
I've been called in the hard NIGGER word by a white transgender before because
dude, you're 40 years old. If you're not used to that by now, shame on you.
Trans person.
Because I said I'm sorry, man.
Trans person,
Diesel.
I've been called.
I've been called NIGGER by a white
person, Diesel.
I've been called NIGGER by a white woman.
Yes. Fo wants to say something, but I want to say this again because I think
NIGGER by a white woman.
Fo wants to say something, and I think this is important, right? I'm not asking or saying you, as a black man, need to talk to white men or white women about that. I'm not asking you to do that again, right? So I think I feel like maybe you're hearing that as well, right? Like, I'm not asking you to do that. As a marginalized person, it's not your responsibility to necessarily talk to white men about their mistreatment of women, right? Because there's harm that could come to you from that. And you're describing that to me. And I don't think that that's okay. And I think that that's where you can have boundaries. And that's where this intersectionality comes harm that could come to you. And I don't think that that's okay. And that's where this intersectionality comes in, right? But can you, as a black man, look at other black men and call out their misogyny and misogynoir towards black women? Can you do that? And do you
And
see
Ash,
that?
just so you know, Ash, that's why I came up as another black man. I wanted to talk to him, black man to black man.
Right. I think you're being, I'm not saying you're intentional, but you got to be careful about not being used against me. You know,
I'm not being used. So again, I'm a 64-year-old man who has studied history for the past 45 years. I've had 2 full careers, one in the military and one as an educator. I'm speaking to you from facts as well as my own experiential knowledge, right? That's the issue. That's not me being used. You're simply using that as an excuse to not have to listen to
they'll
me.
do the same thing on the right. Not saying that they're doing this on the left, but you coming up here, you know, there have been black women on leftist panels who, you know, went on other panels.
But sir, I haven't said anything to you from a racist standpoint. I'm coming to you from the standpoint of knowledge. If you understood this group, then you could speak on that group better. That's what I've been saying. Whether that group is the black community, the LGBTQIA plus community, the transgender community, women as a whole, whatever group you want to. I'm the LGBTQIA plus community, whatever group you want to. I'm saying study the history of those groups to have better information, to have the argument or
with
the
all
debate.
due respect, I don't think women are a group. Men are not. Somebody just said for me, I believe men and women are not groups. Your groups is based on your race and ethnic background, where you come from, your country even. When I go outside of America, I'm black. That's what they definitely, but they know I'm American. Men are not a group. Women are not a group. What the heck? How do we?
Diesel. They are. Diesel.
Go ahead, Fo.
Diesel. They are got to be inherently groups, because the whole point of groups is a category for a thing or person, right? So when you have two distinct things, they're going to be 2 different groups. Like for example, with colors, we have blues and reds. They're 2 distinct different groups. Despite being of the same thing, a wavelength, hell, even whatever you may call it, right? The same thing it is for gender it is a category under a subject. So in this case, women, men, non-binary people, so on and so forth, trans people even are going to be a group of people, because we'll be focusing on the aspects of things that will affect them based off their gender. In which this case, women are being affected based on the basis of their gender, per United Nations, who any other organization you can look at when it comes to human rights. Women and girls are a group that being affected. So you just saying nah doesn't make it any less true.
Yeah, do you think it's important to look at
the
do you think
men
it's important
in those groups? If we're going to talk about international issues, is it because
Yes,
they're? Is
yes.
it because the women are,
Yes.
or is it because the men
Yes,
are unable
they're
to
doing it.
protect? Are the
No,
is
it's not protection. It's not protection. It's a normalization of harm done to women and girls. It's not protection. It's not protection. It's a normalization of harm done to women. For example, in Nigeria,
Who says that women have to hold on? Who says that women have to
Sorry.
be protected? That's first of all. Why can't they protect themselves?
Oh
You don't
my
even give
God!
them that
It's called
opportunity.
nature.
Wait,
I mean,
what are
No, it's
hold on,
not.
hold on.
No, it's
wait,
not.
access
That's
to
called
the same
patriarchy.
tools.
Wow.
In America, they
Nature?
got access to the same tools
Wait,
we got access to.
wait, hold on.
What
Who
the
do
heck,
men
man?
wait, who do men need to protect women from?
Other societies that want to do harm, people that
Wait, but who are
that
who?
wanna do harm.
Which are who? Which are who?
People that want to do harm.
Well, which are who? Well, which are who?
People.
And generally
Ask
those
me the same question.
those people are who? Diesel, let me ask you another
Ask,
question.
please.
Do you think it's important? Let me ask you another question since you're not going to answer that. Do you think it's important when we look at our prison system and police violence to look at the difference between men and women? Or do you think that's not important when we look at police violence against Black people?
I
mean,
think
it
we
probably
need
doesn't think women are a group.
I'm sorry?
No, women are not a group.
No, I just say
Men are not a group.
apparently.
Wait, hold on.
So-
You're not answering my question. I'm asking you, do you think it's important? Bye, Hawk. Do you think it's important when we look at police violence in our prison system to look at the differences and the harm between men and women and Black men and Black women? Or do you think
No.
it's So do you
I don't
think
believe it should
do you
be
think the
gender
harm
based.
is to look at the differences and the harm in black men and black women? Hold on. Oh, Hawk, you can come back up then. Sometimes it just gets TikTok is just weird. You can come back up. So you think that the prison system and police violence is the same for black men and black women?
No, but
Okay.
it's
Oh, it's not. Okay, so so hold on. So it's
men are
not.
obviously gonna get it worse. Men,
Wait.
but I don't believe
Okay.
there's competition here.
Wait.
I don't believe
Hold on. Wait. What? Like, don't. No. Like, it's either important or it's not important. Hold on. Wait. What? Like, it's either important.
No, it shouldn't be looked upon based upon gender. No, it shouldn't be chopped up based on gender. It's just police.
Okay, so then so is it not a fair,
Right.
so do you think it's a fair and wrong statement for me to say that black men are impacted more by police violence in our prison system? Or do you think that's sexist for me to say that?
That's the truth. Black men, but
No,
there's
no,
a reason
Diesel.
that-
Well, but
It's
there's
not
no
the truth
groups.
because men aren't groups.
It would just have to be black people, right?
Fair enough, if you wanna
Which
say
is
black
true,
people,
which
fine.
is
Black
true,
people,
right?
fine.
We can look at,
Yeah, black
right?
people are
We
impacted
can
by
look at how black
prison
people
complex.
are mistreated. Go ahead, Fo. Go ahead, Fo.
Yeah, so like this idea to like just remove the idea of like men and women from groups doesn't work at all, because when it comes to black women and men, black women and men, we actually do see they face different harms within the justice force and police force. Extreme black women and men, we actually do see they face different harms within the justice force and police force, extremely to different extents. Like we have a higher, black women have a higher chance to be essayed by the police force than black men do, and even within to the different extents by the police force than black men do. Like black communities, we see black women are facing the brunt of racial abuse due to the fact that they're women as well. For example, for black communities, we see black women of racial abuse due to the fact that they're women as well. Like things like abortion bans, which is like medical misogyny as a whole, harms black women more. Like when it comes to abortion, based off the Texas Tribune, black women are more likely to face the brunt of abortions, and it states that black women are going to face a higher poverty percentage, I think 30%, and higher mortality death rate by 20%. So here we actually do see that due to both the gender and race, they're going to face off worse things in life due to racism compared to the black man.
I'd like to say something real quick to the chat too, if I
Right,
can.
and then, yes, well, in fact, Fax also has his hand up, so I just want to make sure everybody gets a chance real quick.
Yep, I'm just gonna say this to the my fellow Mayonnaisians in the chat. Can we please stop referring to what Diesel is doing as Oppression Olympics? That is often used as a microaggression towards Black people. And while this is a conversation about men, there is still some intersectionality here that he is a Black man. So if you could please stop commenting that, that would be greatly appreciated.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Fax, go ahead.
So, gosh, Diesel.
What is somebody? No, Hawk. Nobody's kicking you. Just keep requesting. I'm not. It would tell me if somebody's kicking you. Yeah. It's just TikTok. That's my bad.
I guess the question I have for you, do you believe in the concept of community, Diesel?
Yes.
Okay, so do you believe in the idea that communities can form from different areas? Like, you could have a member of this particular organization, that particular organization, and they come together and they form a community. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
So they form a group, right?
Yes.
So therefore, people from different groups could then form other groups, correct?
Yes.
So how could you possibly say that women, men, everyone else are not groups? That's how we're categorized.
You have to be born into, when I'm talking about groups, you have to be
let
born into.
me finish the
Women
question.
can't reproduce themselves, men can't reproduce themselves.
Once again, but women are a group.
Yeah,
Men are a group. Non-binary people are a group. Marginalized communities, binary people are a group. Marginalized communities, depending on the group that they're in, constitute a group. people leave that particular group and form another group, form another community. So why would you possibly even think that groups don't exist based on race, based on gender, based on orientation?
Based on race, yes, they do. That's the point. You're born into. When I look at groups, you have
intersectionality again.
But
you're missing the point, man.
You have to come into this world via a woman.
No, you don't.
Hello.
No, wait, Diesel groups aren't a thing you're born into. It's just a category for a thing or person, right? Like you're not born as a religion. You're born into religion. But you can choose a different religion.
Fine.
Hold on. We can choose a different religion, right? Which is why you have things like reformed as a religion. You're born into religion.
Fine.
Hold on. We can choose a different religion, right? Which is why you have things like reformed Catholics. They would be a part of Catholics, but but many of them were not born into Catholicism. So this is incorrect when it comes to being born into said thing.
Or you can convert to that group. Fine.
Exactly.
When it comes to different religions or whatever, you can convert or whatever. But I was born into church. I was raised in church, so I was born into the Christian faith. Right? I was raised in church.
I was born as a Christian as well, but I'm not Christian anymore, so I'm therefore atheist. So you don't need to be born into it to still be part of that group.
Kind of more agnostic or whatever, but still rely on Christian. But we still don't need to be born, because they'll blame religion. They'll blame my views on women via religion, and no, it's not that.
Well, religions
it has nothing to do with. I swear, it doesn't.
Hold on, Diesel.
Yeah, religion can have an impact, but I swear my views do not solely come from that.
Wait, you understand girls are impacted as well. It almost sounds like were you alluding to the fact that you're not born into being a woman, therefore like we're skipping childhood? I mean, girls are impacted as well, right? Do you know that?
Yes, I understand.
Do you know that?
Yeah, girls are impacted. Children are impacted.
Well, children. I agree. Okay. Well, Hawk, I can drop you, and you can request back up if you want. Right. So yes, children, right? But girls are.
Ash, I got to drop too. Thanks for having me. Happy New Year.
Yeah, I appreciate. Yes, children, right? I have to end here shortly anyway, because my daughter's going to be coming home. Let's just pause here since we're Fo, did you want to, or I'll give you last. I have to end here shortly anyway, because my daughter's going to be coming home. Let's just pause here since we're last words, or if you want to wrap anything up.
I was just gonna say real quick. I'm not trying to be contrarian. I enjoy these conversations, and I guess I still have stuff to learn. But maybe you can also learn from me. It doesn't have to be an echo chamber one way street. Maybe.
Well, I'm not gonna lie.
Go ahead, Fo.
I'm not gonna lie. There's nothing.
Echo chamber one way. Go ahead, Fo. Go ahead.
I'm not gonna lie. There's nothing from you to learn when you're dismissing the oppression other groups face in order to put yourself on top when it comes to the importance of the oppression of Black people, because you seem to not understand intersectionality when you're dismissing the oppression of put yourself on top when it comes to the importance of the oppression of Black people. See, I know you understand any of these other subjects when it comes to systemic issues.
I got that person and blocked it.
Sorry.
Sorry, no, just to I think I got that person.
Okay, so I understand. I know what intersectionality is. It was created by a Black woman named Kimberly Crenshaw, and I'm saying, as Black people, it doesn't serve us. It hasn't served us. It has served other. It has served other. It doesn't serve us. It hasn't. It has served other groups of people. While we're being used, because you share.
You could think that. Wait, you could think that, but doesn't mean it is the case, right? So
you share while we're being used.
You could think that, but doesn't mean it is the case.
The gender with a white woman, but having she got the privilege. Black woman sharing that gender space with the white woman.
She has a privilege on
the gender with a white woman, but gender space with the white woman.
It's of a whiteness, not her gender, right?
Once her issues are resolved as a woman, the Black woman gets left behind. Instead, try prioritization.
Of a whiteness, not her gender.
Instead, try prioritization. where we
Wait,
can all
yeah,
get get on
no
equal
one's
footing.
disagreeing. No one's disagreeing with it, right? But what we're simply saying is just because that happens doesn't mean we get to negate the oppression that they face or do face.
Yeah, nobody's disagreeing with
I'm
you,
not
right?
negating
Right?
mistreatment. I'm saying
You are.
oppression is a whole.
Yeah, nobody's disagreeing.
When you say oppression to me, that's a whole nother word. That's a whole nother.
Yeah, Diesel,
dynamic. That
you don't understand. You don't understand oppression either. And I'm sorry to harp on.
you say oppression to me, that's a whole nother.
Diesel, you don't understand. You don't understand on here because Ash does need to go. But when it comes to oppression, again, it's not just straight to BOBMs, destroying homes, the whole lot. It's just slow. You need to search out how oppression works because you clearly don't understand it. Because you being black doesn't mean you just because you understand it. You being black doesn't mean you just because you're black doesn't mean you know how oppression works to a whole. You may understand parts of it, but it doesn't mean you understand it to a whole. Being black doesn't mean you just because your works to a whole.
Yeah.
You must be British, right? Are you British?
What's the relevance?
Listen, 1770, right? Are you British? Listen, 1776 happened for a reason, man. You over here trying to trying to
Okay.
Wait, what?
Here's
Okay, that's a weird.
Listen, 1776 happened for a reason, man. You over here.
Wait, what?
Here's
Okay,
the
that's a weird thing
Diesel.
to say.
Diesel.
All right.
Wait, Diesel.
Solve your bloody issues in your own country. Quit climbing up.
Wait,
trying to take America.
don't, no, don't.
Solve your bloody issues in your own country. Quit climbing up.
Wait,
trying to take America.
don't, no, don't crash
I'm
out
making-
now. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't crash
I'm
out
making
now.
jokes.
What are you doing? Don't
I'm not
crash
gonna
out
crash
now.
out. I'm just.
But
I'm
no
not
one's
crashing out
no
on
one's
him.
laughing. Diesel. Sorry, Ash.
No, you're fine.
Diesel. Me being British has nothing to do with it. You just don't understand oppression. For the most part, quite clearly, through your own words and ideas that you've told us.
Go worry about Tommy Robinson.
Oppression. For the most part, quite clearly, through your own words and ideas that you've told us.
Why don't you go do that?
I can walk with you, Gum. I can walk with you, Gum. Because you don't know my day-to-day life. Because I do actually talk about Tommy Robinson quite often when it comes to British politics. So you're actually incorrect. So you need to understand that oppression affects people, regardless of the groups that they belong to. Okay, and you need to understand how oppression works. So go do that for your homework. Since you're 40 years old, you don't understand anything. And you need to understand how oppression works. So go to years old, you don't understand.
Don't worry about
anything.
mega MEJ, make England great. What the heck they got going on? I've been to the UK twice. But you're over here trying to correct me trying to correct an American.
You don't understand oppression.
Shoot.
Yeah, you don't understand oppression. So that's you crashing out.
I don't understand oppression, and I've been put when I shoot.
Yeah, you don't understand oppression.
I don't understand oppression, and I've been put when I got pulled over in Arkansas and handcuffed, and my truck got searched, accused of smuggling rugs. Didn't know whether I was going to
experiencing it.
Well, you understand.
And my truck got
experiencing it.
Well, you understand you understand your oppression.
You know what?
Hold on.
You bloody
Hold on. Wait, stop. You understand your oppression. You understand your oppression. Nobody's saying that what happened to you in that situation isn't oppression. Understand your oppression. Nobody's saying situation isn't oppression. It is. You understand yours, right? It's crazy to me to fully understand oppression, right? When I was young and misogynistic myself and falling all into the young and falling all into the internalized misogynistic stuff, I was also more racist. Right. And the reason why is because if I can't understand somebody else's oppression or my own, right, I'm not going to understand my own or the other person's. Right. If I can't understand somebody else's oppression or my own. So by dismantling my own oppression and seeing other people's oppression in tandem, right, I understand. So by dismantling my own people's oppression in tandem, right, I understand mine, but then I understand my role and then my privilege has in the other person's oppression in my own gender, right? And so I also understand my oppression, but I also understand my privilege. And that's where you're getting lost, is that nobody's saying that what happened to you isn't oppression. It is, right? Now, think about other groups. This idea that we're not groups is wild. Like, that what happened to you isn't oppression. It is. About other groups. This idea that we're not groups is what do you mean we're not groups, right? They're different groups. They have different roles according to society. They have different types of oppressions, right? They have different perceptions. It's multifaceted. Roles according to society. They have different types of oppressions. It's multifaceted and it's complex. Okay, and you have to be able to step outside and look at it. And I'm going to say it again. I'm going to end on this, and I'll give you last words. Nobody's denying anybody's reality, especially as a Black man. That's denying anybody's. That's not what this is, right? But there are layers, and I agree with you that due to history, it's fair to question people's, agree with you that due to history, it's fair to quote what they're doing. I'm not even saying don't do that. Don't take my word for it, especially as a white woman, right? But go look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, right? Read a book. Go read Hood Feminism. I just got the book Men Who Hate Women. That was recommended to me. I haven't started it. Okay, go read Hood Feminism. Go read Hood Feminism. Listen. If you,
I appreciate you having me up.
So
just because
I'll end
read
it here. You experiencing oppression doesn't mean you understand it, which clearly don't. Because for example, I've never been stopped by the police, but I can understand oppression isn't just these extreme forms. So you can do your homework, and that's all I'll leave it on. Please, but I can understand oppression. So you can do your homework, and that's all I'll leave it on.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Diesel. I'm gonna drop you down. Look, I'm gonna follow you back. Yep, take care if you want to come. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Follow you back. Yep, take care. If you want to come back and join at any time, that's fine. I gave you a follow back. Fatima, thank you so much. Hawk, if you're still in there, it was really nice to meet you back. Yep, take care. If you want to come, I gave you a follow back. Fatima, thank you so much for giving us your time and your energy when you don't have to do that. This was a great live. I may post it on my YouTube, which is in my link in my bio. The one day I didn't put my face on camera. Link in my bio. But anyway, love you all. I appreciate you. Thank you for all the new follows as well. And I'll see y'all. Thank you for all the new follows as well. And I'll see y'all probably, what day is it? Is today Saturday? No, what day is it? It's Friday. Thursday? I don't have no idea what day it is. I'll probably be live in the next day or two. What day is it? Is today Saturday? I'll probably be live in the next day or two again. Have a good New Year's. Let's do some good things. It's Thursday. Okay, yeah, so I'll probably be live tomorrow then. Thank you. I got all my days mixed up because my daughter's out of school. Probably be live tomorrow then. Thank you. Because my daughter's out of school. All right, I will talk to you all.